Bears beats Battlestar Galactica.
You really adopted the dark. I was born in it.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
Bazinga.
2 in the box. Ready to go.
Meet me fast.
Take it slow.
Cool.
Three, 2, 1, and we're recording. Welcome to the Mt.Geekmore podcast, your favorite podcast where you like to come and listen to guys talk, debate, and argue over their top 4, Mount Rushmore, if you will, of your favorite pop culture subjects. Today's pop culture subject, as you can tell by looking at your listening device, is the Mount Rushmore of, what are we doing today? Yeah,
exotic film.
Exotic film. Fuck, goddamn it! I have the wrong. No, same list. Your Mount Rushmore of streamable original content TV shows. So
Does
caveat.
Pornhub count as a streaming service?
What? Pornhub?
Pornhub.
Yeah. The premium is free right now, so take advantage of that, my friend.
Oh, I know.
It has to be original streaming content. It has to be made for streaming, usually by a Amazon Prime or Netflix, or yada yada yada. So, I am Nary Science. With that said, with me as usual is Jeff.
Hello.
And we got David.
Howdy.
And we got DeBona back.
Hey, y'all.
DeBona's going to be our fourth.
At what point are we going to stop saying we have DeBona back?
I was literally saying, at this point, it's going to be DeBona until the quarantine's over, and then we got to all get like real jobs again. I don't know. But I'm down for this lineup. So how did you guys make your selections? David, how did you guys come up? Let's start off with you.
Okay, so I kind of put a restriction on myself where it had to be a scripted TV show because there is so much original content out there. I've watched a lot of great documentary series, some really fun reality shows. So you're not going to find anything like the new Tiger King or like Making a Murder, or another show I really like a lot is Nailed It, but you're not going to find that on my list. I went with just scripted TV shows.
All right. Jeff, how did you come up with your selection?
So I originally was like, I'm going to put one from each of the major streaming services just to not go crazy. But then I realized I only really use 3 streaming services, so one's a duplicate of a streaming service. I'm going to preface this with I am currently in quarantine to try to maximize viewing of series, watching 2 episodes each of certain shows that I held off on watching and rotating. And I'm going to get through season 1 in one shot of like 4 to 5 different shows. So like Ozark's not on my list. Narcos is not on my list. The Protector's not on my list. I never finished The Witcher, so I'm finishing that now. It's not on my list. The reasoning is if you don't see one of these big name ones, it's because I'm in the middle of still watching.
All right.
So that's why.
DeBono?
I did the same thing as David, actually, where I was like, all right, I'm only going to look at scripted TV shows, especially because, I won't say the one that's just kind of hung. There's one that I'm watching right now that's really hung in my head, but it's a docuseries, so I didn't pick that. As I'm looking at my list right now, I actually just thought of a really huge one that may need a spot on here that I completely forgot about because I forgot about the service that it's on being a streaming service. So there are going to be some audibles called as my list goes, I'm pretty sure now.
Okay. I made a couple rules for myself. One, I had to have watched the entire series, at least the entire series that's out so far. If it's still an ongoing series, and 2, I guess there should be one, would be that it had to have multiple seasons. It can't just be a show. There's plenty of shows that are fucking amazing. And if you have this on your list, don't say anything. I'm just saying, I thought The Boys from Amazon Prime was amazing. I thought Umbrella Academy was fucking off the wall great, but those are shows that only have one season. So therefore, I didn't include that in my list. So with those restrictions, I didn't have much to choose from. So because everything, I either A, haven't finished it, or B, only one season of it. So there's my caveat. There's my sweet spot, which is good to me because it made it easier to like, okay, then there you go.
I am now adopting the it has to have multiple seasons rule so that I can have a reason to alter my list. And so I can't put that one. Never mind, I can't put that one on there now. I'm all
You're
messed up
doing
now.
great, Debona.
I really am. I will say I seriously forgot like a super major one right now. But then anyway, whatever. I'm gonna, like I said, I'll make it up as I go at this point.
I haven't realized that I watched. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
The one season thing knocked down one show from the number one spot to the number two spot for me, simply because I think when you have multiple seasons and those seasons still kick ass, to me that shows consistent writing versus like one really great season, as amazing as it can be. You kind of haven't proven yourself yet.
Well, that's the way. That's the way I feel in general about that. It's the same premise. It's I'm a huge fan. Again, if you have this on your list, I'm a huge fan of the shows that I just mentioned. I'm a huge fan of The Witcher, which I thought was fucking phenomenal. But it's only one season, so I mean, really, if we're gonna compare only one season, I don't think it's enough of enough. It doesn't have enough je ne sais quoi.
Right.
So,
I will say this. I didn't do that. There are shows on my list that are one season because they're fucking fantastic.
Oh no, I agree. I just made it easier for myself.
I can't put that on there.
I just made it easier for myself. I was like, if you cut out these seasons, it makes it thins the herd, so to speak. All right.
And like one other thing is just real quick. Sorry. So like I kept it to like that scripted series in a sense because certain shows like, and if you have it, don't mention it. But like I adore Black Mirror, but to me it's a lot of individual stories. That it's like a Twilight Zone to me, which
well, not just to you, it is. It's an anthology.
Well, great, right? But you get what I mean. Like it's even though there are episodes where they throw back to other episodes, it's not one cohesive story that's going on.
It also started as just a BBC TV show, not
Black Mirror BBC.
Yeah, Black Mirror.
The first two seasons were
Black Mirror is one of the ones that I was talking about today that I ended up pulling because like, oh crap, it did start on TV.
If they have an English accent, they pretty much started on BBC. That's usually the way it works. All right, so let's go ahead and get started because I just had a bowl for dinner of mac and cheese and refried beans, and so let's see how long we last.
Let's roll the dice on this one.
Round 4.
I'm in no mood for your wife's crap. Let's get it on.
All right, Dave, let's start with you, brother. What did you have for your number 4?
All right, my number 4 is a show that I got on right away, like almost day one. And then I waited so long to get to season 2, and I did season 2 really just like maybe 2 months ago, and season 3 hit right before this quarantine, which was perfect. And it's Castlevania.
Castlevania's freaking great.
I had it on my short list. It's one that I didn't put down because I haven't completed it.
Oh man! So
I haven't gone through season 3.
The third season is great. They finished telling the story of Castlevania 3 with the second season. So it's kind of fun to see them take the show in a more original direction. But the show itself is great. The art design is fantastic. It reminds me a lot of the artwork of Symphony of the Night, the PlayStation, the PS1 Castlevania game. And even if you're not a fan of anime, I think it's really easy to get into this show. Because it obviously has that anime look to it, but The animation is much more fluid than what you're used to with a lot of these Japanese animes. The voice work is fantastic. The cast is really great, and you've got like possibly the three greatest characters in all of Castlevania in the series. Right? You've got Trevor Belmont, Alucard, and Sypha. I mean, these characters are just, they're so great, so diverse. They make up such an amazing team. There's early on, there's a lot of bumping heads, which leads to a lot of sort of dark humor there. And then the portrayal of Dracula is so good. You really start to kind of sympathize with him, even though he wants to wipe out all of humanity. It's a really great portrayal of Dracula. And then, of course, like I said, the animation. It's just it's jaw dropping, and it's so brutal, so violent, blood everywhere. It's great. It's really
I don't know if I could ever get a cast. I don't know if I'd want a Castlevania live action, because I feel like anime and the way that they did this in the anime is how it would be done justice.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Well, especially after seeing it this way, I don't know that I want it live action either.
Yeah, this is it is one where I'm constantly amazed by how good the voice acting is. I'm not a anime fanatic, but there are certain ones that I really, really like, and I always feel kind of torn as to whether I should be watching with subtitles or with dubbing. But like the voice work on this is so good. Like I've never felt like I should try to watch it and read the subtitles or anything, because the voice acting is just absolutely incredible. And that blew me away when I started the show.
It's a really, really cool show, and the seasons aren't long. It's one of these.
No, they're like 8 episodes. They're half an hour long, so you can bang out a season in a day during this quarantine.
All right, cool. Jeff, what is your number 4?
So my number 4, at first I was sad because I realized that the show was televised in its country of origin, which you will easily know when I say the name of the show. But then when I read further about it, it was actually filmed for both the TV and Netflix at the same time. It was filmed in English for Netflix. The scenes were filmed in English for Netflix and in Norwegian for Norway. My number 4 is a show that it was on nobody's list on Facebook, and I had to put it as my number 4 because people are sleeping on the show, and it is Norseman. Norseman, it came out in 2016. It's on its 3rd season. They're currently working on it. It hasn't come out yet. They're actually making it a prequel to seasons 1 and 2. But I told Neri he should check out the show, and I think he saw 1 episode of it today.
Yeah, I just finished watching the very first episode of the show, and it is fucking fantastic. It's the way you described it really is the best way to describe it. When Jeff told me about it, he said it. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no. So what I basically told Neri was it's The Office and like What We Do in the Shadows.
That's not what you didn't say. The Office.
Did I say What We Do?
You said What We Do in the Shadows. But with Vikings.
But with Vikings instead of that's essentially what the show is. Like, and they filmed it both in Norwegian, and they shot the scenes once in Norwegian and once in English. And when you bring it up on Netflix, it says Netflix original series. So I'm counting it.
Yeah, I'm not going to. It's a co-production, man. I mean, there's no reason why it should even be questionable.
Well, that's why, like, I'm not changing my list because I took it off, so it's an honorable mention. Peaky Blinders is in the same boat. If you put it on, it actually says Netflix original series. So, but it's already off my list. But whatever. But Norseman. So it basically is, like I said, it's What We Do in the Shadows. You've got this group of Vikings that are coming home from raping and pillaging. And you've got the one main. He's remembering shit
as Vikings are wont to do.
But it's funny because they're Vikings, but they're like not like the savage, crazy Vikings that you're known, like that are like historically known, like that they were crazy, like and all this stuff. they're very like Michael Scott, like talking to people.
They're like Hagar the Horrible.
It's like, oh, so we're about to get back to the village. I think you're all going to really like it over there. You know, it's like, oh yeah, you have a question, like that kind of. Like they're talking to their prisoners that they just burned and killed their village.
He's like, you know, there's a lot of things to do. There's a lot of activities, and he's like, what's the pay? And he goes, there's no pay. And he goes, no pay? What are you? He's just so offended that the freaking there's no pay. You're a slave, and he's like, he's so offended that there's no pay. So fucking great.
Is this my cloak?
Yeah.
This is my cloak.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
But it's just like I highly recommend it. See, it's a great show. And then you've got the brother of the head of the clan that is like an idiot. He doesn't want to rule. In reality, he just doesn't want to rule. He just wants to be liked and be a part of the group. It's got
that's very Michael Scott.
Right. That he's basically Michael Scott. Like he's essentially the Michael Scott of the village. And they do a lot of physical comedy. It's a lot of just subtle, dry humor, like The Office. I fucking love the show. I'm ecstatic. I got Neri into What We Do in the Shadows, and when I saw the show, I said Neri's going to like this too. And I'm happy that he loved the first episode.
So far, I was laughing out loud. I watched it with my headphones on. I was on my phone. And I was watching it with my headphones on. And my wife is next to me. She's watching some whatever show she's watching, and I'm just laughing out loud. And I can feel her looking at me and staring at me. I'm like, "Fuck you, bitch! This shit is hilarious."
I mean, and it's got famous actors like Henrik Mestad, Niels Jorgen Karlstad. I mean, classic.
Classics.
Jeff, so if I don't like Taika Waititi's delivery, but I think the jokes are funny, would I like this show?
I think you would, because you just don't like Taika Waititi's delivery.
Or Jermaine Clement,
it's different. First, and the thing is, it's weird because like their accent when they speak in English is so soft that it's like this guy's talking about raping one of the people that raped a bunch of monks, and it's like so heartwarming the way that it sounds, like the way he's speaking.
But they were like congratulating, like, "Oh, but yeah, right, they're raping you." And then they go, "Oh," like there was like, "Oh shucks" attitude, like, "Oh no, you guys, go ahead, you come on."
Oh, thanks guys. No, you guys are the great.
No, you guys, come on.
It's that kind of
so fucking good,
humor.
dude.
So I think a lot of people slept on it. So I love the show. So
there was somebody who mentioned it either on one of the social medias, either.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, it was either on Twitter or Facebook's or whatever, but it was somebody mentioned it. I know that.
Okay, good. Yeah, I didn't know. I had
Twitter
earlier this afternoon.
Twitter. I'm looking at it right now. Yeah.
But yeah, Norseman's my number 4. It's definitely, and it's a Netflix series.
Nice.
Yeah. All right, DeBono, what do you got for number 4?
All right, so here comes my big audible. So I was going to have something that I was going to put something else in, but they both only got one season. So you know what? I'm going to use my number 4. I'm going to follow Jeff's lead. I'm going to get weird with it. This is one that I didn't think I was going to bring up, but screw it. I'm going to put it at my number 4. This is a Netflix series that premiered in 2017. It is in German. It is about time travel and monsters and cross-generational madness. It is a show called Dark.
Yep.
That you can catch on Netflix.
I am adding this to my list right now.
It is absolutely incredible. It's so bizarre. So basically, when Dark starts, some children have gone missing, and when they start trying to find them, they end up exposing all of this insanity that's going on in this town. I remember when it came out, like watching it being like, okay, so it's like, at first, your very first thought is it's German Stranger Things. But as you get into it, it's much darker than Stranger Things, with none of the nostalgia or like happy children getting things done. It covers I want to say it's 3 different generations of this family that are covered in the series of Dark, and it turns out that there's actually this giant time travel conspiracy that's causing all of these things to happen. And honestly, to tell you too much about it would ruin just a lot of the absolutely amazing things that happen in this. It's got 2 seasons on Netflix right now. It's decently heartfelt at times. It's not like jump scary a lot of the time. It happens occasionally, but it's just very unsettling and creepy a lot of the time. The storylines and the characters are just phenomenal. The way that they cast, there's multiple actors that play every role because of different points in time when they exist. And the way that they all match each other's mannerisms and stuff, so you know exactly who it is. Like, oh, that's Jonas. Like, I know that's Jonas. And there are certain things, like, you can tell these guys spent a lot of time together, working out how they thought the character should be fleshed out so that it carried out well over the course of it. It's a ton of fun to watch. I watched it in the German with the subtitles on. That's how it started, and I was like, all right, fine, whatever. I'd never even looked. Yeah, like I never even looked to see if it like had an English option or anything. It was just like, okay, whatever. Started playing in German, but man, it's absolutely incredible. And so, like I said, super kind of obscure and weird, very critically acclaimed though. People who see it like it a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and say my number 4 is Dark on Netflix.
There's something unsettling about a white dude watching something in German and going like, yeah, this is cool. I don't need
This feels comfortable.
Yeah, I don't need subtitles. I don't need subtitles. Who needs subtitles? That's fine. It's all they want. What? Excuse me? No, it's fine. This feels homey.
He's calling. He's like, Fräulein, be up, please.
It's interesting because there are some of the scenes that are really sold by the way that the German language kind of carries. Like I don't, because of the way the words are put together, like certain things hit really hard when you're watching it in the German. So I don't regret watching it in the German. You may be able to watch it in English. I'm not sure. But it was good. It's really good. The 3rd season started filming halfway through last year, so hopefully it'll be out soon. Who knows with all this going on now? But yeah, great show.
That's awesome, man. I just added it to my list.
You will enjoy it.
Yeah, you would definitely take that show, dude. Not Harry though, because
my number 4 is most likely going to get tabled. My number 4 is Stranger Things.
Table.
Yeah, figured. All right. A second.
That I know we'll get to it, but that is one where I was like, somebody else will have it. I got other stuff to talk about.
Yeah, same with me.
I get that. Yeah.
Round
I was like, yeah.
3 is a magic number. Yes, it is.
All right.
So,
Dave,
number 3s. Dave, what do you got for number 3, brother?
My number 3 is...
I covered you, Neri, but you said it again.
Okay. My kids were knocking at the door. I had to go. Okay.
I know, I was covering you.
Fucking kids.
She just didn't have the headphones on.
My number 3 is a TV show that was knocked down a couple pegs simply because it has only 1 season. But it is legitimately, I think, the scariest thing I've ever seen, and one of the best made examples of art, visual art, and it's The Haunting of Hill House.
Yeah. So that was my number 4 that then I crossed off to make something else, realized they both had 1 season and went with Dark.
I was pretty sure you were going to have this, and that I wanted to talk about Norseman, but that was also my
Haunting of Hill what?
Oh, okay, great.
The Haunting of
Hill House.
Okay.
So the Haunting of Hill House is an adaptation of a novel by Shirley Jackson, and it's a show that has that I can think of really only 1 jump scare in the entire show.
Yeah.
And everything else is literally just atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
It's atmosphere and tension and suspense, but amped up to such an exponent that you are literally holding yourself because you don't know what's going to happen next. And this show promotes rewatching so much.
Yep.
because you watch it once and then you start picking up on little things, and you think, oh, well, was that going on all the way back in the first episode? But you don't want to go back then. You want to finish watching. And so once you finish watching and you're like, holy shit, that is one of the greatest things I've ever seen before. You go back to the beginning and you start watching, you're like, holy fuck, this stuff was going on all the way back from the very first episode. And it is just, it's so unsettling. The way you describe dark, it's like, that's kind of like the feel that I had watching The Haunting of Hill House. The acting is like out of hand. Like
it's ridiculous.
Yeah. And but to me, what really stands out here is the directing. Mike Flanagan is, like, simply put, one of the best directors working today. Because if you've seen his work in Dr. Sleep, he kind of like put that to the test where it's like, hey, listen, it's not just like TV shows. Watch Gerald's Game. Watch that.
Gerald,
Dr. Sleep. Okay. There's so he had. I will give him the benefit of the doubt. If his name is on something, I'm going to watch it. And so I can't say too much about the show without giving it away. I guess the simplest way to put it is a family moves into a house. Bizarre things begin to happen. From the very first scene in the show that the family leaves the house and they leave the mother behind. Mm-hmm. And from there, it kind of flashes back into when the family was living there and the children were young, and then flashes forward to when the children are grown, and they all have their demons, and they are still living with the trauma that came from Hill House. It's just spectacular. I can't say too much about it without giving stuff away. And I don't want to do that for Neri, though I don't think you're going to watch the show. It is legitimately scary.
It is.
Well, between your number
scary.
4, between your number 4 pick and your number 3 pick, you should have like a horror podcast or something.
So with Haunting of Hill House, I absolutely agree. Just about how completely and ridiculously good it is. It's one of very few, if not like one of the only times that I can think of something being cross-genre between being a family drama and horror, which is strange and doesn't sound like it's going to play out, but it plays out amazingly. Two things that I have to say if we're mentioning Haunting of Hill House. One, for like the first 2 episodes, I thought that Carla Gugino was Famke Janssen. When I was watching the show, I was like, "Oh, Famke Janssen, cool, Jean Grey." Cool. And then it was like by the third episode, I was like,
them. So I was like, no, I knew that was Carla Gugino.
Yeah, and so by the third episode, I was like, "Wait a minute, And so anyway, 2. There is an episode where I believe the episode is like 48 minutes long, and the first 30-something minutes are one shot, yep. including a transition from modern day to a flashback, because they purposefully built the stages right next to each other and built a tunnel between them so they could shoot that scene. So there's actually a moment where you travel back in time to a flashback, all in this one cut. Like, there's people interchanging on furniture in this one cut. It's up there with, in that first season of True Detective, that there was one episode where like all of all of Act 3 was one cut. Like, it's up there with how amazing of a feat that was.
I think that whole episode has only 3 or 4 shots in it.
Yeah. Like, the whole thing, like, is only like 3 or 4 shots, but it's an absolutely incredible show. It starts off really scary. It stays super creepy. It gets super emotional. You really buy into every single character. The way that it all pays off is incredible. And the second season is going to be based on The Turning of the Screw by Henry James, which I'm very excited about because I love that book.
One of my favorite little trivia tidbits about the show is that they came back and said, you probably missed I think it's 100 or something ghosts that are in the background of almost every shot of the series, and like that, it's turned into like a drinking game of trying to find the ghosts in the shots in Hill House.
There's like ghosts that you think are statues,
right?
Because the house is ancient and it's filled with all these statues, and in one shot it'll be there, and then the next shot it's gone. Like subtle things like that, But then like the big bad ghosts, like what's the name? The broken neck lady. The bowler hat man.
Yeah.
I think he was probably the scariest out of all of them.
Bro, with the legs. Nary, based on the fact that
lady, that's it.
Yeah, whenever we talk about anything scary and you're like, no, it's like, you're probably not going to want to get anywhere near this.
I just like the fact that from somebody who doesn't know what you guys are talking about, just to hear you guys not try to spoil things, you guys are like, well, with the bowler hat and the legs, what the fuck? And it's so fucking funny to me. The lady with the neck, and the bowler hat guy, with the legs, no, I can't.
Let me tell you, in context, those are terrifying.
Oh no, I'm sure. I'm sure it is. I just found it funny how you guys, and like I'm looking at you guys, and you guys are like literally shade. Like you guys are like, and I'm just like, what the? How you said it was legs and bowler hat? Like I don't understand. Like it's funny.
Oh, you have no idea.
Oh no, I get it. I understand I understand my ignorance, because I know you guys, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, it gets so funny from an outsider looking in. I'm like, oh wow, anybody would think that that's crazy talk, but I know, I get it. I'm sure you guys are right. All right.
But listen, if you find yourself with enough light outside, and your shades open, or your blinds, whatever,
don't watch it.
From a like technical aspect, I think that you would really enjoy how well directed and just the cinematography, how beautiful it is. The acting is incredible. You would really appreciate it from a technical aspect.
Oh, I'm sure. Look, man. I'm sure the times that I've stayed, like that I've forced myself to watch horror movies and horror shows, and I've enjoyed it. It does what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to freak you out, and it does freak me out, and I do get scared, and I do have nightmares. And yes, I do have to watch. Whenever I watch a horror movie, I do have to end the night watching a Disney movie. So I get it. I understand. But there's a show, and I'm not going to talk about it in case it's on one of your guys' lists, but there's a show that was super creepy, but I found the subject matter super interesting, and I remember watching the first episode, or let me rephrase it. I remember watching 20 minutes of the first episode, and then something scary happened. I'm like, nah, I'm out. Sometimes you need to, I try to force myself and be like, no, you got to watch it because it's going to be good. It's beautifully shot.
Right, and building an immunity.
Right. I'm trying to I'm trying to do that. And then something happens to remind you that you're a pussy. And you're like, no, my friend, you cannot take this. Yeah. So, all right. So, The Haunting of Hill House. Jeff, what do you got for your number 3?
Well, you kind of mentioned it before. My number 3 is 2019's The Boys from Amazon.
Oh, I fucking love this show.
It was an honorable mention just because of the one season thing, but it's written down. It's so good.
I'll preface it with I never read the graphic novel.
I didn't even know there was one. I didn't even know there was one until after the show was done, and then people on Twitter were all fucking talking about it.
Well,
I didn't even know there was
Translucent
one.
wasn't in the comic from what I read. It was an alien named Jack from Jupiter did the bone.
Yes,
is that correct?
Jack from Jupiter, correct.
But Translucent was made for the show. It was a different character in the comic. But The Boys, I mean, first of all, I fucking love Carl Urban. I absolutely adore Carl Urban. I love his movies. I don't care, but even though Doom was a dumpster fire, he was fucking great in it. Which Neri's never seen still, and he's probably never gonna watch.
I'm never gonna watch that.
I feel like it's a rite of passage to watch Doom, but anyway, the Boys. For those of you that
fucking free, what kind of fraternity were you in? Were you like you have to watch the fucking boy? You have to watch Doom.
I said a rite of passage. No, I didn't say we were gonna hate.
I know. That's what I fucking felt like. I was like, I just no. Well, go ahead. You were saying.
But so this is my Amazon pick. What can I say about the show? Like, you give me a gritty, like, over-the-top, ridiculous superhero show or movie or anything like that, and still make it so fucking entertaining that I'm itching for season 2 to come in. All the characters, for those of you that don't know, superheroes are basically, owned by a conglomerate named Bot Industries, I think was the name of it.
Well, there's multiple companies, but the biggest one and the biggest corporation owns the best superheroes, the most popular superheroes.
Right.
Yeah,
And
the Homeland.
yeah,
Like the
Homelander.
Yankees.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is totally. If you hate the Yankees as much as most baseball fans do, you would know that's possible.
Yeah.
That's a possibility.
and it's just the dichotomy of you're the face of justice and all this stuff, but these people are deep down, not all of them, but most of them are deep down scumbags, and it's that whole idea of just because you're a superhero doesn't mean that you're not really like a piece of shit. You know what I mean? Like, I just love all the characters in it. I love everybody from the Seven is great. Like each of the characters from the Seven are
So
great.
good.
The boys, each one of them, the Latin guy, the Mexican guy is fucking hysterical. Like you've got these non-hero people that are trying to police these superheroes.
Yeah.
And it's just, I mean, when you had somebody diving into a woman's vagina as a shot in the club, you had me at that moment.
Oh, dude,
They had me much earlier. They had me so
the
much
opening
earlier.
scene.
I was about to say, look, I don't want to. We're not going to ruin the opening scene for anybody who hasn't seen it. But the opening scene, you're either into the show or you're not.
Yeah,
like
that's
either
your judge.
Either buy in the first few minutes, or just decide this isn't for me.
Right. And here's the thing, and I'm being completely honest. I know a lot of times people say this, and there's a lot of hyperbole going around. But if you watch that opening scene and you decide, hey, this is not for me, first of all, you should make that decision. This is not for me. If you make that decision and you and I know each other, just don't ever talk to me again. I don't want to be associated with you in any which way, shape, or form. I don't want to know you. I don't want to that just doesn't happen. Hey, what happened to so and so? I don't know. One day we just stopped talking. I don't know what happened. It's because of that. I watched The Boys opening scene and I fucking wasn't into it. Then that's good, man. All right, I'm glad because we're not talking. I don't want to talk to people like that.
I love one of my actual favorite. I love Ezekiel and the whole Capes for Christ thing.
Oh, so good, dude.
Oh my God, that whole thing was just fantastic. The way that they did Ezekiel was spot on.
Elizabeth Shue was the shits, bro. Can we just say how fucking great Elizabeth Shue was? I mean, fuck, dude. She's still, first of all, still a smoke show, but she's still such a great actress, man. Holy fuck. The whole thing, I tweeted the moment I binge watched it. It took me 2 days. I binge watched the season, and I tweeted, and I tweeted at Seth Rogen, who is a producer of the show, and I tweeted, I'm like, hey, please let me get season 2. I need to get season 2. And he liked my tweet, which already shows you we're basically bros. I mean, that's just like Twitter language for like we're best friends. So we're hanging out on Rodeo Drive soon. But it's fucking great. And then like I think like 3 days after I watched it, they announced that season 2 is greenlit, and I fucking
And not only is he a producer, but if I remember correctly, back from when we were doing What's Good, like he basically single-handedly is the one who got it put together and presented it in a way that it got picked up by Amazon. Like it was his baby was to turn The Boys into a show.
There was one scene that they talked about that they omitted from the show that I wish they would have included it.
So good.
That apparently
you can't don't I was gonna say don't tell the character's name, but yeah, all right. You already said it.
I already said Homelander before.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying this specific scene, you wouldn't have known. We wouldn't. You know what I mean? It's fine. It's
you
fine.
want me to not say it?
Oh, the spoiler. It's already done. It's fine. It's fine.
But it's not a spoiler. The scene's not in the show.
Right. Okay. It's a spoiler to the character. It's a spoiler to how the character is as a person.
Oh, well, I guess.
Yeah,
I
know what you're talking about now. It took me a second. Yeah. It does change. Like, it changes the way you're going to be the character. Yeah.
So watch the show, then look up online, delete the scene that was omitted with Homeland.
Yeah, there we go.
And then laugh hysterically. Because it's bad. I wish they would have put that scene in there.
Yeah.
But I think it's a fucking great show. In this world of these superhero movies where it's typically the rah-rah. I mean, for the most part, it's not. They don't go this dark and this twisted unless it's like Deadpool, and even then, it didn't go this dark and twisted.
Yeah.
It's cool to see a real adult superhero something. So my number 3 is The Boys. I love that show.
It's fucking great,
got
man.
and that really hot chick from who was also in Suicide Squad is super hot in The Boys too. The one who plays Kimiko.
Oh,
wasn't she also in Suicide Squad? Isn't that her?
I'm gonna look it up.
But yeah,
I hope so. For the sake of
So otherwise, you sound like a real racist.
yeah, I know that's the thing. Like I may have just put it out on the line to be really racist, but I'm pretty sure that the chick who played the female Kimiko on The Boys is also the chick from Suicide Squad.
Congrats, you're not racist.
It reminded me of National Lampoon's Vegas trip, where you just they're playing those crazy odd games, weird games, and I just pictured DeBona at the "Are You Racist" fucking crap table, and he's like, "Come on, give me all Asians look alike." Fuck. All right. The Boys, man. DeBona, what do you got for your number 3?
All right, so my number 3 is one that I will not be surprised if it doesn't make anybody else's list, even though it's one that's really big. It's definitely had its ups and downs, so I can't fault anybody for not putting it on their list. I have an enormous emotional attachment to this show and the subject matter, so it was definitely going to make my list. My number 3 is Daredevil.
Oh, that was
honorable mention for me.
That was another thing. I purposely did not put Marvel shows. I did it for myself. If not, Daredevil would have absolutely.
Yeah.
What was your reason for not putting Marvel shows? Like, what was your logic?
I just because I don't know. To me, I wanted to put shows that weren't in that Marvel bubble. I wanted to do something kind of, which is why The Boys is on there. It's not really a Marvel, like those 4. Well, I'm not gonna say those 4 shows because
right.
Iron Fist, but to me, like I think it's those shows. It's kind of like it's pretty obvious. Like Daredevil's fucking,
So, like I said, the show definitely had its ups and downs. It started off absolutely amazing. Season 2 was incredible. Kind of got off the rails. Yeah. But season 3 though, and like the thing with season 3 is I felt like it was really derisive. Like I feel like there were people who didn't like season 3 and people who did, but it pulled from some of the absolute best Daredevil storylines, like Born Again. And some things like that. So it did a great job of creating a very deep character in Matt Murdock, not just a guy who's blind and he has superpowers. Like you get those moments where he's torn because of his Catholicism, and you get those great moments where you can tell he didn't just learn martial arts from stick, that his dad was a boxer, like especially in season 3. In season 3, you got some really great fight scenes where he was just bludgeoning people with his fists. Yeah. Like there was no martial arts or anything fancy about it. It was just, I can hit harder because my dad was a boxer. If you're listening and you don't know this, like I said, emotional attachment. My name is Daniel Bona. I have always been a Daredevil fan. So those are also my initials. They're tattooed on my back. I have a dog named Foggy Nelson. Daredevil is absolutely my favorite superhero of all time. And like, I always tried to fondly look back on the Daredevil movie because I was happy that it happened. Even though I never thought it was good, I would just always kind of be like, look, it's not as bad as people say it is. And I still don't think it's as bad as people say it is.
That's my guilty pleasure, bro. I don't care. I love that movie.
Minus the playground scene.
That's it. If you just take off the playground scene, that movie's good.
Yeah. Yeah. Like,
well, wait, hang on a second. Have you seen the director's cut? There's 30 more minutes added to the movie.
Yeah. No. I have.
Yeah, there's just two scenes I need taken out. Yeah. I need the playground scene and Bullseye saying, "I want a bloody costume" for no reason. And he still didn't get the costume. So,
but I remember when I started watching this, and I was a kid again. But because it was fresh and it felt like rediscovering Daredevil, and it gave me chills. And I didn't even care that it took the entire first season to get his costume, and I didn't really care that it kind of went away again in season 3. Charlie Cox was so unbelievably perfectly cast in this. I remember when they first cast him being very excited because I knew him from Boardwalk Empire, and
that's a good show.
Yeah. So it's just, and we because of the success of this show, we ended up with all of the other Defenders shows, and this is how this is where they introduced Punisher, and Vincent D'Onofrio just absolutely knocking Kingpin out of the park.
He's my favorite thing from that series.
It's just
D'Onofrio's Kingpin.
Everything about it was done so well that if you're not a comic book fan, you can enjoy it. If you're a Daredevil fan, then you can just sit and freak out about it and just gush. And so, like I said, I know it's definitely had its ups and downs, but I love every minute of this show. I'm usually not huge on action type shows being very rewatchable, but this is one where I've rewatched all 3 seasons multiple times because I just adore it.
It's got arguably like one of the coolest scenes in recent television of the hallway fight.
Oh yeah,
the hallway fight, which they recreated with the Punisher in the jail cell.
Yes,
but it was way more gruesome. But But the Daredevil was just out of all those shows that came out, Daredevil was probably my number one. Punisher grew on me. I used to be Luke Cage. Punisher definitely grew on me, but Daredevil was just leaps and bounds to me. Blew me away. It just blew me away. And
Guardian Devil. Born Again and Guardian Devil. That's where season 3 came from. Sorry, that's been driving me crazy.
Nobody was arguing. Why are you yelling?
I didn't have a problem with it. Like a lot of folks, like you said, didn't really like season 2 or 3 or the end of season 2 or 3.
Yeah, season 2, the end was weird, but
yep.
But I mean, I dug it. I think
whenever you introduce Elektra and the hand, it's gonna get weird.
Yeah, exactly. Which, dude, are you kidding me? Oh, I'm gonna be mad because Daredevil's standing on a roof fighting 100 ninjas attacking him. Get the fuck out of here! What about that is supposed to upset me?
That is right out of the comics, though.
Exactly. That's what that's. I'm gonna be upset about this.
I actually don't. That's the reason Daredevil doesn't rank him. He may be my 3rd favorite Netflix show of the Marvels. Maybe the 3rd, and a lot of it is because of that. It's because season 2, when they introduced first of all, Elektra, I thought was an awful fucking actress, atrocious actress. She was
you're
really
not wrong
fucking.
there.
She was really fucking bad. And then on top of that, the story, the magical and mystical part of the hand, it just didn't fall in line with the rest of the show that had been up to that point very grounded in realism, very grounded. Like it didn't. We had nothing to go on aside from an old lady who knew every language in the world in season 1. We, the audience, didn't have anything to go on that this is going to go into a mythical, a fucking magical land. We had no idea. I didn't know. So I watched fucking Daredevil season 1 and I was like just jerking it like, oh, this is amazing. And then they introduced Punisher in the beginning of season 2 and I'm like, oh my God, this is like and then he went away, and I was like, "What happened?" They're like, "No, don't worry about it. We're gonna bring in somebody who can act." And I'm like, "What? No, I don't want somebody who can act. No. We're gonna throw in a mystical fucking situation where previously we hadn't even brought it up. What? I'm confused. So I didn't like the end of season 2, the second half of season 2. I didn't like. If it was only 1 or 2 episodes, it'd be one thing, but it was a lot. It was like half the series of season 2.
But season 3, season 3 after Defenders really did so much to pull you back.
And then season 3, I haven't finished watching. I watched like the first 3 episodes. I watched like the first 3 episodes of season 3, and I'm not saying it was bad. I'm just saying either A, life happened, or not really, man. Because if I'm thinking about it, like there's very few things that would have happened to keep me from finishing season 1. Like, I don't know what happened. Like, I could have had a child in the middle of season 1. I'd be like, yeah, that's cool, but I gotta finish season 1 though, right? Like, I gotta fucking and I didn't feel that way with season 3. Again, only watched like 3 episodes. I don't even remember exactly how many episodes I watched. It could have been 2, but I know I watched more than 1. But maybe 2, maybe 3 episodes, and I just I'll give it a second chance. I'll go back to it because I do. The moment you brought it up, I thought to myself, oh fuck, I didn't even finish that. I gotta go back and finish that. So I was a huge fan of season 1, huge fan of the first half of season 2. I didn't finish season 3, so it's unfair for me to say, but that's why I have there's other shows in the Marvel Netflix realm that I love so much better, including my number 3, which is The Punisher. And this is
segue.
Yeah, I was thinking about moving. I was thinking about moving it up to my number 2, but I'm like, we're already talking about this. Let's fucking do this. So my number 3 is The Punisher, and I love everything about the fucking Punisher. Every season of The Punisher, there was 2, right? There was 2 of The Punisher.
I've only watched the first season. If there was a second one,
no,
I thought there was only 1.
No, you got both of you wrong.
Yeah, two seasons. You're right.
There's 2 seasons of that, and then 2.5 if you include the half of season from Daredevil of the first season of Daredevil. But each season got better than the other one. The what they did, how they came. I mean, the way they came up with Jigsaw, I did not see coming. I know some of the Punisher comics. I'm not like deep into the Punisher comics, but I know some of it. And I'm watching season 1. Nowhere did I think that this is like the fucking origin story of Jigsaw. And they did it so fucking, it dealt with PTSD and it dealt with fucking, it was just, it was so fucking great, man. So the way he had his sidekick, who didn't even want to be his sidekick, but fucking, what's his name, Micro. I just loved everything about it. Season 2 was fucking fantastic. We talked about the fight scene, the stairwell fight scene in Daredevil, which I thought was awesome until I saw the stairwell fight scene in Punisher in jail, and I'm like, this is so much better. And he fucking had the skull painted in blood. Oh fuck, dude! I was just
just walking, just covered in blood,
just from head to covering in blood. It's so fucking great, dude. And then that whole thing, like that triangle between in season 2, in season 1 of the Punisher, setting up the Punisher and Kingpin and Daredevil, that they share that common enemy. It's just fucking great. I just, everything about this show is fantastic. So I love this show. It is my favorite Marvel Netflix show. I do like all of them except for Jessica Jones, which again we've talked about previously in the podcast. I'm just not a fan of that, but I feel like they could do very little wrong. These people, Netflix. So Punisher is my number 2.
Yeah, I'm really holding out hope that the reason that some of these got canceled is because they want to move them to Disney Plus, and that we might not be completely done with some of these street level heroes.
Well, that was a rumor. The rumor was that they were doing, and then but in order to do that, they had to be in a hiatus for 2 years. That Disney wouldn't own the rights for them for another 2 years. So
which could be very cool. Just if while we're talking about streaming stuff, I think they've confirmed She-Hulk, right?
Right.
Which has the potential to be spectacular, but some others that would potentially work very well on the small screen. I mean, give me my Moon Knight show already.
Hell yeah, man! I would love a Moon Knight show.
Yeah.
I never said that there was photos of Charlie Cox with Tom Holland. Like that they were like hanging out, and that there was a rumor mill that there may be something, maybe that Charlie Cox's Daredevil may even show up in the third Spider-Man movie.
That would be fantastic.
Or maybe they're just throwing out.
That's really convenient.
That's not creepy, right? 30-something-year-old with a 19-year-old kid just randomly like, all right, let's just go hang out because we're. Oh, all right.
He loved him as Rihanna in the lip sync battle.
Oh, that's
He
so
was like,
funny.
Somebody's got to buy the kid beer.
But yeah, I always, I was talking about the Punisher yesterday. As a matter of fact, just randomly, one of my friends, Will Watkins, sent me a picture of no, it was you, Jeff, that sent me the statue of the Punisher. There was a badass unboxing of a statue of the Punisher, and I said, man, I love Barenthal. I love what Barenthal did with the Punisher. Again, it is my favorite Marvel Netflix
Perfect
shows.
casting, man.
However, I wish they would have casted somebody that had the body type like that statue did, which was somewhere along the lines of Henry Cavill, like that's somebody just fucking massive like that. Because that's just the way I see the Punisher from the comics. You just see him as this big, muscly bound dude. And again, Barenthal, he fucking killed it. Just, no pun intended. No pun. Punisher. Jesus. All right. So the number threes were Haunting of Hill House, The Boys, Daredevil, and The Punisher. That was number three. All right.
Round 3.
Oh no, that's still round 3. What the hell?
Hey, Dave. I think your mic seems to have got. Did his mic get really loud to everybody else
Yes.
the last couple times he was talking?
Yes. Yes.
Speak.
I haven't touched it. It's weird.
Yeah, like it's gotten way loud.
Like we could hear that. We could hear what's going on behind you.
Yeah, we hear Steph talking.
Yeah. I didn't want to put names out there, but yeah.
Oh, his wife? I'm sorry, Internet.
Yeah, well, we don't, gotta put his business out there in the open like that, Jeff. Yeah, no, that's what I'm just saying that mic did get hot. I thought I was gonna wait it out, but yeah, now that the boner brought it up, yeah, it does sound
and then when you hit the wrong soundbite, I was like, oh, okay, well maybe this is a spot where he's gonna do some editing anyway, so I'll bring it up now.
Editing.
I've been doing editing. You guys haven't even noticed. You don't listen to the episodes.
Round 2.
Dose, the sequel to Uno.
All right, 2. What do you got? 2. What do you got for number 2, Dave?
So this is one that was moved down from my number 1 spot because it only had 1 season, and it's The Mandalorian.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there we go.
Mandalorian? Manda.
Yeah.
That's how I originally put it, Manda, and I really put it Manda, and I'm like, it's Manda.
But they call him Mando.
Yeah.
All right. What do we got, Jeff? What do you got for number 2?
My number 2 is another Netflix series. It goes in line with my true crime super freakness, and it is Mindhunter.
I thought you were going to say Don't Fuck with Cats. I was like, oh shit.
No, because that's when we do the documentary one.
Yeah, when we do the documentary
we'll talk about that one.
Holy shit! Yeah.
Mark your fucking words on that, sir. Mindhunter.
I haven't seen this show.
Wow, because you would love this show.
Neither have I.
I've been told by a few people.
So it's 2 seasons.
Just go, Jeff, because none of us have seen it.
Oh, you haven't seen it either?
Nope.
Okay, so the basic premise, it's based off of a nonfiction book called Mindhunter inside the FBI's crime unit. This is basically a retelling, or like I guess, quote-unquote, fictional telling of how the FBI created their behavioral science unit. So it follows these 2 police agents. One of them, Jonathan Groff from Broadway, and Hamilton, Prince, King George, Dave.
Yep. No, I know.
I thought you were going to react to that. Okay. I was waiting for a reaction. I didn't see his face move. And a psychiatrist.
I'm just listening.
Yeah, and Charlize Theron's in the show too. But basically, it's how
that got a reaction.
Yeah. So it's basically how they convinced the FBI that they needed a unit like this, because they believe that if they studied serial killers, they would be able to get into the minds and understand crime more.
So it's the birth of the psychological profile of like killers.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
So they actually have that you see them interviewing killers. So they have it, and the actors are phenomenal. Like the guy that played Ed Kemper's in both seasons, and he is by far one of the best characters in the show. Like the guy that portrayed him, it was phenomenal. Apparently, he actually listened to tapes of Ed Kemper being interviewed to get into the role. Charles Manson's in it. They interview him. It's the same actor that played Manson in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, the way you said that at first, I was like the Charles Manson?
Oh, yeah. The actor.
The
actor who of the
Manson family?
Yeah, of the Desert Manson?
Yes, of the West Coast Mansons?
So the same actor that played him in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood played him in this. They had Richard Speck, Tex Watson, and so season 1 was kind of them building it up. They were using it to try to solve a case. The second season focuses primarily on the Atlanta child murders, and it's
okay.
So it's them trying to prove their worth by using everything that they've learned, and they go back and interview Ed Kemper, and that's when they bring in Charles Manson, stuff like that, to try to solve it. They've got William Henry Hayes, the one who was eventually convicted of it. They have him in the show, the actor playing him in the show. Sorry, but it's a really, I love true crime stuff. I love serial killer stuff. So Criminal Minds is like one of my favorite episodic shows ever. Like, so seeing a version of that, of how that started, really drew to me, and it's just it's a thriller, but it's very true detective-y, in a sense where you have these thriller aspects when they're interviewing these serial killers, like the Ed Kemper interviews. It's just uncomfortable, like while you're sitting there, and then they have their own personal things going on. I really dig the show. That's why I picked it over all the possible other shows. Like I said, Stranger Things, I knew somebody else was going to mention it, so I knew it was going to get talked about anyway. But to me, Mindhunters, it's another show. Look, 3 of you have never seen it. I'm glad I've gotten 2 shows that I can recommend for the 3 of you guys to watch. I dig it. If you're into true crime, you'll really appreciate it. If you're into that whole serial killer genre, you'll be into it. They actually got dialogue from tapes and put it into the dialogue from the show. To try to make it as realistic as possible. I highly recommend it. I think it's a really cool show to watch.
All right.
I think it's like 18 episodes. I think. Okay. Yeah.
All right, Mindhunter. DeBono, what do you got for your number 2, brother?
So my number 2 is one that ended up creeping its way this high up on my list, not only because it's a spectacularly funny show, but the rewatchability of it, I put it up there with some of those other great sitcoms that you can watch over and over again. It never gets old. It was originally a YouTube series. Then it went to a Canadian streaming service called Crave, and it is now on Hulu. My number 2 is Letterkenny.
Oh, I thought it was something else. Never mind.
Oh, no.
I thought it was Trailer Park Boys.
I don't know this show. I've never even heard of it.
Okay, so Letterkenny is a Hulu exclusive now. It actually started off as a YouTube series called Letterkenny Problems. And essentially, what it is it is a show of a town called Letterkenny, and it is a small Canadian town. And like when the show starts, it puts a little blurb up, and it's like, Letterkenny is a town in Canada with 5,000 people. These are their problems. And then it's just like, it's a sitcom about mainly this guy and his sister and their 2 friends and all of the bizarre and crazy things that happen in their town.
I've seen the first episode of this. Oh, yeah, I saw the first episode of this where there was a guy that he promised that he would get off, that he won't be hitting anybody anymore, right? That was the whole thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so like,
former hockey player.
One of his whole things is he's the toughest guy in town, and like that is like a reoccurring thing. Like it comes back around. Like people will come into Letterkenny and like challenge him for the role of toughest guy in town. But this show masterfully executes the cold open. Just about every episode starts with an unbelievably funny cold open. It is very smartly written. One thing I had to do a lot when I first started watching the show was I kept having to Google Canadian slang. It's when I learned that a dart is a cigarette. That shit talking in hockey is called chirping. And so basically, there's a couple of guys that play for like Letterkenny's like crappy little minor league hockey team. The main character, his name is Wayne. His sister is an absolute smoke show, and there's a couple of just unbelievably gorgeous women in this show. And it really just follows them. It's about them. It's like any other sitcom. One episode may not have anything to do with the next. There's just enough of a story to kind of keep everything going. It's emotional enough at times that you're very invested in these characters. But it's just it's so funny. Like I promise you, and you will plow through these episodes. There's 5 or 6 seasons on Hulu right now. They're 22-minute episodes, and there's 10 or so per season. I mean, you could just absolutely destroy this series. But I have watched entire seasons in one day and just been like face streaming with tears, stomach hurting, laughing because it's just nonstop. Like, one of the trademarks of Letterkenny is scenes that are just Daryl, Wayne, and Squirrely Dan, the 3 main guys, just sitting around and just real quick, just rapid fire wit, like talking about something, like picking a subject or ragging on one of them. And it's so it reminds me a lot, honestly, in a funnier sitcom way, but it reminds me of how fast the wit is in Gilmore Girls. Like when Rory and her mom are talking, like, but it's like that, but with 4 guys. Like they're right on top of each other. They all play off each other very well. I knowing what I know of you guys, you would all absolutely love this show. It is unbelievably funny, and like I said, it ended up making it up to my number 2 because it's one that I've seen it enough now that I'll just toss on in the background and then just that way, whenever I'm doing something, it'll make me laugh. It's so damn funny, and like that's the main selling point. Like, you'll know a couple episodes in if the humor is for you or not. It gets me, and like it gets me every time. Remarkably funny show called Letterkenny. I just looked at the cast and I hate myself because I recognize one of the people, and it's from the guy that plays Ryan. He's from The Descendants. He plays. He's Gaston's kid. I was like, God damn it, I recognize him. So I'm watching it one day, and my daughter walks through, and she was like, "Hey, it's the guy from The Descendants." I was like, "No, it's not." She was like, "Yeah, it is. That's Gaston's son." And I was like, I go and look, I'm like, holy crap! Turns out he's actually done a bunch of Disney Channel stuff before he started doing Letterkenny. Oh, really? Yeah, he showed up on some other show like Austin and Ally or something like that my daughter was watching. But yeah, anyway. Letterkenny, very, very funny. Like there's farmers. Oh, there's a group of they call them the Skids. They're like the goth kids in town, and they hang out dancing in front of what's essentially like their dollar store. It's like their one little like drugstore supermarket, and they just hang out dancing on this cardboard and do
Jay Baruchel's in this.
Who?
Jay Baruchel?
He had a bit part in one season. Yeah, no. He's not a reoccurring cast. I mean, he is Canadian, but he had funny. He had a bit part in one season. It was reoccurring for like 2 or 3 roles. As like he was essentially a Canadian white nationalist one season. And don't get me wrong, he was in it for like 3 or 4 episodes, and his role was hilarious. It's just. Like I said, it's fantastic.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Letterkenny. My number 2 is a Amazon original show. It was a character that I had seen on the big screen before, but I was like, okay, like I thought it was cool and all, but I never loved the character like I did after watching this show. And my number 2 is Jack Ryan.
I still haven't seen this.
For me.
Yeah,
I haven't finished. I have not finished it, but I do enjoy what I've seen.
Yeah, for me to hear, Dave, that you have not watched the show, knowing the fan that you are of Jack Ryan, the movies and the books, and stuff like that, it is atrocity. I don't know, shame. I don't know a word to use, but it really is, because if you like, this is leaps and bounds better than any of the films. Like, it's leaps and bounds better than any of the films. There's to me, there's no comparison. And I've liked pretty much every of the films that I've liked. I just saw Sum of All Fears for the first time, like three or four months ago. It's not, but
good. I agree with you, Neri. I was not a fan of Sum of All Fears.
But again,
I don't think it's great. It's definitely the worst one.
I saw it too late. I saw it too late. This was a very 90s film that doesn't age well, and it's like, if I would have seen it in the 90s, I would have been like, oh, I get it. But I saw it 3 months ago. It was very
the Hackers.
Yeah. It's exactly. It doesn't hold up. It doesn't hold up as well as Hackers does.
Which the black guy from Hackers is in Jack Ryan. He's his boss.
Yeah.
The black guy that's like the main FBI agent.
Yeah.
Sorry, in my head, I imagine like, oh, it'd be really funny if he was wrong, and then I pictured Jeff playing the "Is It Racist?" game. Like, turns out, no, it's not the black guy from Hackers.
Turns out it was the guy from Reading Rainbow. Son of a bitch.
Nebula Barbird.
So but this TV series is so fucking good. Season 1, I saw season 1 like probably 3 months before season 2 dropped. So I was late to this show.
Okay.
But I'm glad I was, because I binged all of season 1, and then season 2 came out right afterwards, and it was there's some buzz on the internet that season 2 wasn't as good as season 1, and I will fucking die on that mountain. I will die on the hill fighting for that to be inaccurate. I found season 2 to be at very least on par with season 1. I like it better than season 1. The only difference is the nationality and the countries in which they go to in season 1 and season 2. Like, it's different enemies type of deal. Oh, the enemies of the United States. Mm-hmm. And the reason why they change in season 2, the very first season, they show you Jack Ryan, Dr. Jack Ryan, teaching a course, and he's telling them, like, he starts, who do you think is the biggest threat to the United States right now? And everybody starts throwing out all the people that you think would be it, and then he's like, no, it's actually so. And again, I'm not gonna spoil it, but it's fucking great, man. It's just everything about it. The acting, not once, as big of a fan as I am, as we all are, of The Office. It never took me out of the fucking thing that I'm looking at Jim. Like, there's never one time, you know what I mean? Maybe one time I would have liked for him to look at the camera and give that Jim. Like,
when he looked at the camera, he was like, I'm gonna go after the terrorist.
It's like, just I really like, I've seen that, and was it Zero Dark 30 that he did? No, it wasn't. No.
It was
13 hours.
13 hours. There we go.
The woman got
but it's just so funny, because like I've seen those. I'm like, oh no, and Quiet Place, like, this guy's a legitimate actor, but then still every once in a while I'm like, Pam know that you're doing this?
Does Pam know that you're in Russia right now? Does Pam know this? Is she aware of this?
Especially when he teamed up with Roy in 13 hours.
Yeah, it's so funny.
So this takes place outside of the continuity of the original films, right?
Yeah, this is season 1. There's not a spoiler to say that season 1 is the very origin of, like, he's just an analyst in season 1, and then gets taken into. There are scenes that I can remember from part, you know what I mean, like where he's like, I'm just you always have one of those in the films, in the cinematic movies. You always have one of those, like, I'm just an analyst, and it's like, oh, shut the fuck up, get on the fucking helicopter. And he kind of had that in season 1, but he was like, it literally starts off as him as an analyst, and then they'll show you flashbacks of him when he was a Marine. And again, this is only a spoiler if you know fucking nothing about the character of Jack Ryan.
Right.
These are very basic Jack Ryan facts.
That's why I asked, because my favorite point in Jack Ryan's chronology is from the early Jack Ryan books and films, where he is just an analyst. Because in the books, I mean, it progresses and he becomes president of the United States.
Yes.
it's
Yeah, well,
like
so does
he
Lex
goes all the way
Luthor.
to the
So I
top.
mean, really, I mean, and by Lex Luthor, I mean the guy who's in there right now. Yeah, no, I just love.
I'd prefer Lex Luthor. He's got his shit together.
Yeah,
And he's a genius. He's an actual genius, not
Yeah.
just he says he's a genius. He's legitimately a genius. Yeah, no,
these videos.
I love Jack Ryan. I just this fucking show just blew me away. I've always been a fan of the films. I'm not gonna be that guy that fucking reads the novels. I'm never gonna be that guy. But whatever Jack Ryan film you put in front of me, I will watch. I will enjoy for what it is, and that's fine. It's cool. But fuck, dude, this TV show just blew. This is the TV show that made me go, oh fuck, Amazon, you bringing this shit? All right, let me see what else you got. Like this is the one that forced me to start watching other Amazon originals just because of how good Jack Ryan was. It's so fucking unbelievable, man. So that's my number 2.
you know what? I'm gonna start this tonight.
You should, dude. You just watch one again. You watch one episode. I don't understand. Like if somebody told me, "Hey, Neri, there is a show where Superman bakes cakes," I'd be like, "What the fuck? What?" Like I would not. That would not leave the fucking clock would not turn 12 hours before I watched the first episode of that. Like I don't know. Like I just mentioned 2 of my favorite things. So I just put those 2 things together. But my point is, like, I don't know how I've talked to you about this show before in the past, and you're such a huge Jack Ryan fan, and you're just like,
and I am literally the biggest Jack Ryan fan I know.
yeah. Okay, everybody else is like 4 feet tall. All my other Jack Ryan fan friends are very
I'm glad
short.
you're not rusty.
That was good.
But you gotta watch this, man. It's just so fucking good. It's really like I can't emphasize how good everything is. The writing, the directing, the acting, the action, the intelligence. Like it's not all bang bang shoot 'em up. It's like, hey, it shows you how smart Jack Ryan is as an analyst, and it shows you. It's so fucking good, dude. It really is. It's so good. All right, so the number 2s were Mandalorian, Mindhunter, Letterkenny.
Letterkenny, yeah, like Letter.
Yeah, Letterkenny. All right, and Jack Ryan. All right, honorable mentions. What do we got for honorable mentions, Jeff? What are you going to be doing?
Do you want me to? I went through all of them now while you were talking, so I have them all if you want.
Okay, well, just tell me which ones you do, and I'll do the other ones.
Okay, I guess I'll do Geekmore.
Okay,
and
sure, I'll do.
Don't have a lot on the other one.
I'll do my personal page.
Okay.
So
on Geekmore.
Go ahead.
You want me? You want to go?
You go.
Me. Okay. So on Geekmore is Robert Leatherwood, Stranger Things, Fleabag, which is another one I want to see I haven't seen yet. BoJack Horseman, another one that I haven't seen.
Okay, look, so I considered putting BoJack Horseman on there, but when we first talked about this, it was like best shows to stream during the quarantine, and I am not in a mindset right now where BoJack Horseman is going to do good things to my interior monologue. I love that show. I love BoJack Horseman, but like being cooped up and kind of depressed, like I don't need to watch BoJack Horseman right now.
House on Haunted Hill. That's fine. No, let's watch that one.
Yeah,
that's totally
have you
fine.
Ever seen BoJack Horseman?
No, but I've never seen. But, there's also murder.
Okay, no. BoJack Horseman's not about murder. BoJack Horseman is about like a narcissist with a lot of really bad mental issues and like depression, and it really gets too self-evaluative at times. And if I'm not in like a happy place, then BoJack Horseman can send me down a very dark road.
All right.
the butt. Honorable mentions to Daredevil, Punisher, and Bosch, which is another show I've heard about and I haven't seen yet, but it's apparently on its like 4th season. He's like a detective. I don't remember if it's LA, but it's like a detective kind of series. Daniel Romero has Bill Nye Saves the World, The Mandalorian, Stranger Things, and BoJack Horseman. Honorable mention to Big Mouth. I've seen like 3 episodes of Big Mouth, and that show's absurd, and I want to see more.
It's funny what I've seen, but I'm right around the 3-4 episode mark too.
Yeah. Carlos Navarrete has The Mandalorian, Daredevil, Jack Ryan, Stranger Things, honorable mention to The Boys, Haunting of Hill House, and Umbrella Academy. Brian Conran has Love is Blind, Atypical, The Ranch. The Ranch was good for the first 2 seasons, and then it just crashed. And then on my block, honorable mention to Lucifer. Lucifer was on Fox first. It's an amazing show. It's now a Netflix exclusive, but it was originally on Fox.
On My Block is a solid choice.
I haven't seen it.
Oh.
I've seen it, but I haven't watched it. Neri, your personal page you're doing?
Yeah, I'll do that. We got John Evans says Stranger Things, F is for Family, Narcos, and
F is for Family is so good.
I gotta be honest with you, I'm a fucking huge fan of Bill Burr. By far my favorite stand-up at the moment, and he has been for years. I can't get past the first episode of F is for Family. It's so
I fucking love that
because
show.
it's so. It's so awkward to me, and like the kid doing that shit with the magnet and fucking up the TV, I just get so awkward. I'm like, I don't know, I can't get past the first episode. I really fucking can't. It's so uncomfortable because I had that dad that would whoop your fucking ass, and I had that and it's so fucking uncomfortable. And he put the magnet on the fucking, and I haven't even got to the point where the father finds out the TV's fucked up yet. I haven't even got to that part yet. I'm just like, I can't. And I've tried on 2 separate occasions to watch the fucking show, and I can't get past the first episode because it's that uncomfortable to me. I'm like, I can't fucking do it, man. And I'm telling you, I fucking love Bill Burr. Like, I have met him and stuttered beyond fucking belief when I've talked to him. So it's not a good thing. Yeah.
Oh, hang on, Neri. Hang on. Oh, yeah, here it is. That name you dropped real quick.
Is it still a name drop when I say I fucking I stuttered? It's still a name
almost
drop?
Shit my pants. I mean, I met Danny Trejo, but I almost shit my pants too, so it doesn't count.
Yeah, I know. Jamia Leonard puts Ozark as his number from 1 to 4. He puts Ozark.
I love Ozark.
Men in the High Castle, Jack Ryan, Stranger Things. Honorable mention to Kengan Ushua. Mindhunter, Big Mouth, and The Boys. Quills Rodriguez.
The Man in the High Castle is fantastic.
Yeah, it is so good.
I watched like 6 episodes. It's I love the premise of it. I think we've talked about this before. I love the premise of it, but the show is so slow. And I've watched like 6 episodes. I've watched
oddly.
Yeah, I've watched 6 episodes, and again, the premise is fucking fantastic. I remember
the novel is oddly paced too. Yeah. It's one of those, and it doesn't follow the novel like, chapter by chapter or anything like that, but they capture like the themes of the novel, and it's so good. I love it. That was what turned me on to Amazon Prime.
Neri was just upset that Shang Tsung didn't start the tournament.
Yeah, like why wouldn't he just start the fucking tournament? Just start the fucking tournament. I don't know. Quills Rodriguez put Stranger Things, Handmaid's Tales, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, and Ozark. I watched the majority of the first season of Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, and I was very triggered at times and just left. Then
I think that like having a dick just kind of excludes you from really enjoying that show.
No, like I just look. You know what? To be honest with you, the part that bothers me about that show is that they do a lot of about the stand-up comedy, and it's very fucking triggering for me as a comic. It's just very triggering for me. There's like episode 1, the husband's like, oh yeah, no, I stole that joke from Bob Newhart. It's all right, everybody steals, it's okay. And I'm like, no, it's fucking not okay. Like it made it very difficult to watch this show and actually enjoy it. And then by the time I got to like episode 8 or 7, I remember I got late into the first season, and I was like, you know what, I don't care. I don't care about any of you people, and the main chick, not very likable. You're kind of fucking annoying. So Luis Diaz puts from 1 through 4 puts Big Mouth, Jack Ryan, House of Cards, and The Boys, and Child Valdez.
House of Cards is one that I was really into for a while, and then after the whole Kevin Spacey thing, I didn't even watch the last season.
Well, the thing is that the last season was it's not. Look, the thing is up until that point, I'll still give credit where credit is due. That show was brilliantly done. Yep. Up until they killed him off for the final season, and like did the whole fucking weird thing that they did with his character, like with what happened on the show. That just, I mean, obviously, yes, what happened in his personal life made me like really uncomfortable, but looking at it from the show perspective, they had something. The ball was rolling.
Listen, man, I'm
what he did.
I'm kind of a dirtbag because I was like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. Like, yeah, whatever. That's fine. Oh, he did something that's fucked up, but the show's still gonna go on though, right? Like that's what I was like, all I fucking cared about.
But I need to know what's gonna happen.
But the only reason I didn't put House of Cards on my is because I haven't watched his last season. The last season he was on, I didn't watch it. Again, not because of anything other than just life got in the way. So if I didn't even get that far into it, I just made that rule. I'm like, there's no way I could put this show on my. I haven't finished it. Same thing goes for what's the one with Claire Danes?
Homefront.
Homefront.
Well, that's a Showtime show, isn't it?
But
yeah.
Homeland.
That's what it is. Homeland. I haven't finished watching the show, so I'm like, I can't even think about shows that I haven't finished watching.
That show's intense.
Chad Valdez.
I sweat watching Homeland.
Chad Valdez says Stranger Things, Witcher, Haunting of Hill House, Castlevania.
What? You're struggling with that name every time.
Because it's a lot of H's. It's a lot of fucking H's in there, man.
Alliteration's not his thing.
It's a lot of fucking H's. And to me, because I keep thinking about Haunted Hill. Like I keep thinking about Haunted Hill. And then so I keep thinking about Haunted, but it's good. Haunting.
Hey, Vincent Price.
Yeah, the Vincent Price one.
Containment. I'm sorry, Matthews Schnelly?
Matt Schnelly. That's Matt Schnelly, yeah.
Okay. You said that like I don't know.
He was from State Farm. Linda Schnelly, do you remember her? Okay, anyway, that's his mom.
So Matt Schnelly.
Of the Miami Schnelly?
Yeah, of the Miami Schnelly. Of the West Palm Schnelly.
Second of his name. I don't know. I don't fucking know, man. So Matt Schnelly, he put Containment, Ozark, Black Summer, Stranger Things. So
I don't even know what Containment is. Yeah, I've never heard of that.
By his other three picks, I'm going to go ahead and say it's not a comedy. Just going to go ahead and guess that.
I know Black Summer, I think, is that zombie one that they came out with. That was actually pretty interesting. Yeah, that's the zombie one. That one was pretty with Jamie King. She was.
I'll have to check that out.
Teddy Gross put Stranger Things, BoJack Horseman, Letterkenny, and Bloodline.
Shout out to Teddy. He's one of my trivia guys who's now listening because I've been hyping this over on my trivia game on Wednesday.
Right on, man.
Oh, nice.
Let me just go ahead and pick up that name you just dropped there. Dave Siegel put Patriot, Bloodline, Patriot, and Patriot. I didn't know what fucking Patriot he was talking about, so I had to Google this show, and it fucking looks amazing. I've never seen it. So
Bloodline's fucking fantastic.
No, not Bloodline, Patriot. I've never seen Patriot. But he literally put Patriot 3 separate times, and I had to go look it up. I'm like, what fucking show is he talking about? And then
he type stutters, Neri.
Actually, this is the same guy who gave me shit about liking the movie Patriot because it wasn't, quote, historically accurate. And so when he put that, I thought he was fucking with me. I thought he was doing a callback to his own shitty fucking rant about it not being historically accurate. But before I gave him shit back, I Googled it, and there's actually a streaming show called Patriot, and it's fucking amazing. It's very much in the vein of Jack Ryan, from what I can tell from A, the description, and B, the trailer.
A comedy drama web series?
No.
On Prime?
No, it's something about a CIA agent or an intelligence officer or something.
Oh, I'm finding, like, when I just looked up Patriot TV series, I found a Prime Video series that it says it's a comedy drama.
No.
To prevent Iran from going to nuclear war, something.
Yeah.
No, not that one?
That's the one I found. Yeah, that's the one I saw.
Oh. It says Wikipedia calls it a comedy drama.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't see any comedy in the trailer, but all right. I just saw the trailer. I'm like, this shit looks fucking good.
Ain't that
good. Josh Schneider says the OA. Is that the Ozark? Or no, the OA.
No, the OA is different. It's different.
Its own show. All right, the OA, Stranger Things, Castlevania, Wet Hot American Summer. And
10 years later.
10 years later, yeah.
All right, and then on Twitter,
your comedy of if you.
I'm sorry.
I have your Neri Steins comedy. You have other people on.
Oh, okay. On Twitter, Alden Diaz says Fleabag from number 1 through 4. Fleabag, The Mandalorian, Stranger Things, and Daredevil. And else here? We had two other ones. We had Toast from the Podcast Novel Show puts The Boys, Ozark, Jessica Jones, Stranger Things, and Heather from Chantal from at Chantal729. Second episode she's chimed in, so thanks for that. From 1 through 4, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Number 2 is the Harley Quinn Show on DC's Universe app. 3 is Stranger Things. And
I don't have that.
4, The Haunting of Hill House. See, when I take my time, when you take your time, you could.
I've heard nothing but great things about the Harley Quinn Show.
Heather puts Bosch, Jessica Jones, The Crown, and You.
You, yes.
I still haven't seen You.
I have not watched You.
I'm right here.
Love that show.
I'm right here. Brian Courtney on Twitter puts from 1 through 4, Luther, Jack Ryan, Norseman, and Bosch. That was his 4.
Hey, Norseman,
Luther's a BBC show, though.
Oh,
yes.
Kevin M. Butts at his Twitter's at Butts Kevin is from 1 through 4, Bosch, Jack Ryan, Crown, and Spots Center. I don't know what Spots Center is. I don't know if he was trying to write Sports Center and it came up as Spots Center. I don't know what the fuck he was doing. But that's it. That's everybody on the. So you have
Google thinks I meant Sports Center.
Yeah,
I guess it's autocorrect.
So does Bing.
Right, Dave, what's yours?
Well, I can take one out since we talked about it. So I'll go with Black Mirror, even though it started as a BBC show, is now a Netflix original, and I absolutely love that show.
Black Mirror.
Yeah, Black Mirror.
Some nice light viewing.
Yeah. I absolutely.
Occasionally.
Yeah, if you want to watch Street
San
Fighter.
Junipero.
Right. Thank you, Falcon. So I only saw the first season. I haven't seen the second season, which came out recently, but I really love Disenchantment on Netflix, which is Matt Groening's fantasy-based...
it's Futurama fantasy.
Yes, yeah, it's so good. The Handmaid's Tale on Hulu is really dark, really depressing, but really good. And one show
Isn't that the show about men take over?
Yeah.
What do you mean depressing? I don't understand. I don't know.
Okay. So there's there's a TV show that I thought was a Netflix original, is not, and is currently not streaming anywhere except for Daily Motion, which, as Neri pointed out earlier, is not a thing, right?
It's really not a thing.
It was unavailable on any platform except for Netflix outside of Australia, where it was produced. And it's a show called Danger 5. And it is one of the most spectacularly awful, awesome shows you've ever seen before. It's a secret agent team in a alternate 1940s that is made to look like the 1960s. And they have to capture Hitler, but Hitler has hideouts in volcano craters. He has Tyrannosaurus Rex soldiers. It's so out there, and it's so funny. I really, really recommend this show to anyone who is into to campy humor and who likes things a little absurd. This show is right up your alley. I saw it on Netflix years ago. I don't know how long ago it was taken off of Netflix, but now that I know that it's on Daily Motion, I'm going to try to watch a couple episodes again, because it really is just so absurdly good.
Dave gonna Dave.
Jeff?
So my first honorable mention, it was a show that was only on the island of Samoa, but it's now on Daily Motion. No, I'm just kidding.
What are the chances?
So a lot of the ones I had on this giant list were mentioned, so I'm not going to mention them. I said Peaky Blinders. I'm going to reference that again. Great show. Lost in Space, the remake on Netflix.
Still haven't seen it.
I love it. I'm putting this on my honorable mentions because the first 2 episodes blew me away, even though the third episode became a dumpster fire. The Dracula series that was on Netflix.
It went so hard off the rails.
Dracula is probably my second favorite Dracula of all time.
That's the show. That's the show that I watched half an hour of, and then I was like, "Oh fuck, this is horror. What am I doing? I'm like it's just." I was into it. I'm like, "Oh, this is interesting. It's cool. It's creepy. Like, oh, I like the fucking the fly and the eye thing. I'm like, oh, this is cool." And then 20 minutes in was the first jump scare. I'm like, "Oh, that's right. I'm a pussy. No, can't watch this." And I fucking had to stop watching it.
I mean, Dracula didn't give it away.
No, because it wasn't like the jump scare. Again, if this was all like what Dave talked about before, all mood setting and shit like that, I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. But once that first jump scare came out, it wasn't even Dracula doing the jump scare. It was one of the fucking creepy shit in the basement. I was like, I'm out.
Yeah. Okay, I remember what scene you're talking about.
Nah.
Thinking about that scene making you quit is hilarious.
But that Dracula, like, I just absolutely the actor that played Dracula blew me away. The actress that played the nun, that's all I'm going to say.
Is so
fucking
spectacular.
But the third episode,
I don't think the third episode was that bad. It just it obviously lost the gothic atmosphere.
And the good atmosphere.
The first 2.
It jumped sharp bad, like
big time.
Yeah, and
I think that they brought the relationship of Dracula and Van Helsing full circle. And it was so good. That is my second favorite portrayal of Van Helsing ever.
After Hugh Jackman.
After Hugh Jackman's number one.
No.
What?
Peter Cushing, man. I mean, you can't get any better than Peter Cushing.
Hugh Jackman is how it's pronounced.
And then my last 2, since Heather mentioned you, The Last Kingdom on Netflix is a really cool show. Also, it's on season 4 now. That's like a medieval type show. And lastly, I just thought about it while we were sitting here, and this show's fucking fantastic, and it's streaming, and it is Cobra Kai. That is my last honorable mention.
Okay. Cobra Kai.
All right, DeBono, what do you got?
All right. So yeah, some of mine have been mentioned, so I'm down to 3. Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. I love. It's so good.
Get into it.
I get I know that I'm not target audience because whenever it's like, oh, it's a love story too. Yeah. Well, no, it's like the high school love story angle of it. I'm like, all right, I don't need that part.
Ooh, high school love story. I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's high school love story meets murder.
No, like this is a show where Satan is literally a character. Yeah, he's in the show.
Wait.
Spectacular.
Is he in an elevator though?
No.
Oh, I'm out. Never mind.
But elevator. They did a really good job with it. Like I was never a fan of the Clarissa version because it was so different.
Oh, you hold your tongue.
It was. I wanted this one. I wanted creepy Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Chilling Adventures does that well.
Didn't do it for me.
One that I'm surprised didn't make your honorable mentions, Dave, because I thought for sure you'd be a fan. Altered Carbon.
I haven't seen it, and that's why I didn't make my list.
Incredible first season. They brought on Anthony Mackie for season 2. Didn't miss a beat. Just wild.
I haven't finished season 1, but Jesus, it's like if you watch that show and you need to do fucking crunches just to watch the show. You're like, oh my god, excuse me, I can't. Like you feel guilty watching that show not having an 8-pack. It's fucking absurd how everybody so fits.
It was this guy that played Rick Flag, right? He's on the first season.
Yeah, it's exhausting to watch. It's like somebody was like, all right, so like we're going to take the aesthetic of Blade Runner, but we're going to make it like super bloody and like a ton of action.
Yeah. Like, interesting.
Anyway, Altered Carbon is fantastic. My last one is one that is absolutely bizarre, but I love it. It is from the Wachowskis, and it's called Sense8.
I've seen Sense8.
If you have not watched Sense8, I'm not going to say that it's necessarily for you. I'm not going to say that it's for a majority of the population.
No.
Sense8 is super fucking weird. This was really the Netflix seemed to just give the Wachowskis like a blank Publishers Clearinghouse check and tell them to go ape shit, and they did. But I dig it. It's crazy to watch. Like it's emotionally tolling at times. It's kind of funny at times. It's really fucking weird all the time. It's called Sense8.
All right. My honorable mentions were all talked about in one which shape or form. There's a lot of shows that I have not finished watching that I feel even bad mentioning because, again, I haven't even finished watching the shows. But most of them were talked about. The Boys, Umbrella Academy is fucking out of this fucking world for me, and so I'll just leave it at those. All right, here we go.
Gerard Way from My Chemical Romance.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's his comic, right?
That's it. All right.
Round 1.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back.
Do it! Do it! Come on! Come on!
All right. So, Dave, what do we got for number 1, brother?
My number 1, it was tabled early on, is Stranger Things.
Correct. Stranger Things.
Oh, and never knock that pick ever.
If you put a gun to my head and say pick the best TV show of the last 10 years, I would say it's Stranger Things. And it's not over yet, and I understand that. And obviously, shows like Dexter and Game of Thrones can show us that the endings can leave you a little wanting.
Oh,
but
God. Saying Dexter made it hurt all over.
So far, and Dexter's ending was far, far worse than Game of Thrones. I feel bad now putting it together with that because now so far removed, I'm not so upset about Game of Thrones. But I think that Stranger Things has managed to capture everything that we love about they managed to capture like all that nostalgia, right? And they don't like shy away from the fact that nostalgia is a big part of the show, but it is not the only part of the show. It is incredibly well written. The characters are so fleshed out, and it's really hard not to fall in love with each and every one of those kids. And I kind of
Drake over here.
So you're gonna call the police on me?
That's so funny.
All right.
He's like, I stopped watching House of Cards after Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith. Holy fuck!
Let me talk to you about Millie Bobby Brown for a minute.
How do you not fall in love with them chillins? Let me just drive my windowless van around with the puppies inside. I said Kevin Smith too. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I said Kevin Smith. Somewhere there's a Kevin Smith fan going like, "What the fuck did Kevin Smith ever do to you?" Like, no.
Yeah, well, the cards. What the?
Sorry.
There's a special place in hell for y'all.
Stranger Things, you were saying.
So you love the kids. Continue.
Go ahead.
So I kind of I see I could have possibly seen myself hanging out with those guys. What? In that age.
You're gonna hang around with kids who didn't have girlfriends and played D&D? Good man. The fuck out of here.
And then the sci-fi and the horror aspects of the show are so very well done. The way that the story is revealed, like just layer by layer, it peels back the story. It's so well written. I really do hope that the Duffer Brothers stop when they are out of ideas. They don't try to just keep going back for more and more. Whenever their story is done, I want them to just say, hey, that's it. That's the end of the story.
I got to be honest with you. I want them to be done when the kids stop being kids. Like, I don't want to watch fucking 18, 19 years. Like, I'm serious. I don't want to watch.
No, it makes sense.
I'm with you.
I think they've already said that there's only like 1 or 2 more seasons that they've got.
I think that's good.
I mean, originally, back with season 1, they said that they had an additional 2 or 3 seasons that they already had in mind, which would put it at the end of next season. Now, of course, ideas come to you, but I'm with Neri. I kind of like that kind of Goonies aspect of it, where it's there's something magical about kids before they grow up, and you can kind of live in that imagination, magical world.
That one kid's already 6'3", dude. It's already fucking awkward watching that kid already. Season 3, he's like fucking 6 feet 2 inches. I'm like, what the fuck are you? Like, he's like, hey guys, and he's like, they put him in a little backpack for children. But I'm like, bitch, you are 6'2". Shut the fuck up. You are not a child anymore. Like, it's already getting a little awkward. I gotta be honest. It's very much, and again, when it comes to like, there's certain shows and programs. Like, I was never the biggest fan of 2.5 Man, but when the half man became the third man, it fucking I don't want to. This is stupid already. This is just dumb. So, but it's a great show. It's my number 4. I like the show. I was not the biggest fan of season 1. I thought it was overrated. But season 2 fucking grabbed me and fucking didn't let go after that. Season 2 I thought was far superior than season 1. Everything about season 2 was just a fucking click for me. Season 3, same thing goes for season 3, but I really I really became a fan of that show after season 2. So
this show is a master course in how to use the medium of television to tell a compelling story, like without just an info dump at the beginning. Like you said, the way they just constantly peel stuff back, like they give you just enough every episode. Yeah. And it really is like reading a really good book that builds to an amazing crescendo. And that is what this show is absolutely untouchable with. Is
that what reading a book does? Is that what? Is that what? Oh, I don't know.
That's really what it's like.
All right.
But it's just, and
that's really what it's like. Yeah.
And then it's something that doesn't happen enough in TV anymore, in my opinion, which is one big build. Like the whole thing, it's just one long end game to get to what is going to be an incredible reveal and a great finale, and that's what this show does spectacularly.
I do kind of agree with Neri in that each season has gotten better and better. I was so very lucky that maybe like 2 or 3 days before the show dropped on Netflix, I logged in on Netflix. I logged into Netflix and they had an advertisement for it up. And even without seeing the trailer, just the artwork, I was like, oh man, that looks really cool. So the day it came out, and it came out in the summer, as a teacher, I had nothing to do. I just kind of sat and watched the whole first season in one day. And I'm so glad I did that because, Neri, you said that the first season was overrated. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that within a week, everyone was talking about the show.
Yeah.
And for good reason, but that can ruin someone's perception of what it's going to be. Right. And I think that happens to a lot of people where they come to something, even if it's not late, but just later than, the debut. Everyone's telling them it's so good, it's this, it's that, and then you have this idea in your mind, and it can kind of ruin the experience for you.
Yeah, I thought it was a good show. I didn't think it was like that. But again, season 2 was just another thing, dude. That was a whole other level for me. I really loved everything about season 2.
And Hopper's like one of my favorite.
Oh, he's
characters.
Awesome.
Yeah.
TV right now.
All right, Stranger Things. And then Jeff, what do you got for number 1?
So mine was tabled by Dave. My number one is The Mandalorian from Disney Plus.
There we go.
So yes, it's only one season. It's 8 episodes, but holy shit, what an set of 8 episodes you get from this.
Yeah.
When you have a show that is not, each episode is not done by the same director, and it still manages to gel and just be concise. There's only one exception. There's one outlier episode that people hate. I don't. I enjoy it, which is the episode where they're in the prison ship.
I haven't watched the show, so you could just.
Well, that's it. That's a prison ship. That's it.
I love that episode.
So I love that episode.
Wait, hold on. Are you bullshitting? Have you seriously not watched The Mandalorian?
I watched the. I'm not. Listen, I do not.
Like
watch,
I thought you were doing the I'm a comedian thing. You seriously haven't watched it?
First of all, I don't appreciate you using air quotes when you say that shit about me. I don't fucking necessarily need
the comedian thing.
Yeah, the comedian thing. But anyways, no, I don't. Here's one thing about me: I do not watch shows week to week. When anybody, hey, we have episode 1 out, episode 2 comes out in a week or 10 days or whatever the fuck this. I go fucking.
The entire series has been up for literally 3.5 months.
If you let me finish, can I finish? Okay, I'm finished.
Okay, I'm finished.
No, but I did not. I was not that. I don't go kick rocks. I don't fucking watch the show until entire up. So late December was when the entire show was up, and then I watched the very first episode, and apparently I noticed something that David didn't notice, which is that Mandalorian has a nice little sway to his hips when he walks.
I did not know that.
That dude swings his hips like a fucking palm trees in a hurricane, my friend. Just swish swash, swish swash.
Well, that's because John Wayne's grandson is the body double for him. I'm not joking. I'm serious.
Is he really? Holy fuck!
Yeah.
I thought you were doing a joke about the birdcage when he goes.
No, I wasn't doing
that
a comedy thing.
That's what I thought he was doing.
No, but remember in the birdcage when he fucking does the walk and he goes,
Yeah.
He goes, no, you did it perfect. I just didn't realize John Wayne walked that way.
Yeah. Because Christy, the first episode, she pointed that out too. She's like, "Look at this," and I go, and we looked it up, and he has a body double, and it's one of John Wayne's grandsons.
That's
a body double.
There we go.
I fucking thought you were joking because of the whole joke with the birdcage. That is hilarious.
So that's way right there.
But yeah, no, I
watched the first episode. I watched the first episode, and then my wife was like, "You watched it without me?" You know, like fuck, and so we're just trying to watch it with her, and then she falls asleep very easily, bro.
Mine too, bro.
Yeah, so
see, and the thing with the Mandalorian. So just so people know where I'm coming from, it's Rogue One's like my second or third favorite Star Wars movie of all time. I adore.
Me too.
Rogue One. Yeah. Well, now.
Me too.
Well, now, Neri.
Yeah, what we're fucking talking about right now. What are we fucking talking about? Our favorite movies 5 years ago?
You gave us so much shit before the bonus.
I never gave you shit. I just said I didn't like it. I never gave it shit. I just said I wish I liked it. I just didn't like it. That's not giving it shit. That's not saying the movie sucked. I never said the acting was bad. I never talked ill of that movie.
You said there was no lightsabers, and that since there's no lightsabers,
that's a fact, Jack. That's a fact, Jack. I'm stating facts. There's no lightsabers in that fucking movie except the very end where you get that one scene from that guy. I don't know if you remember his. I don't know what Darth Vader. I don't know whatever.
Tony. But so you give me. I mean, everybody knows here at this point, Firefly is like one of my favorite shows ever of all time. So you give me a space western, I'm fucking in. And The Mandalorian the music is one of the coolest fucking theme songs.
Yeah.
Oh my god, future. It's so good. It's scored beautifully.
The score is amazing.
Who wrote that score?
Who wrote it? I think was it Filoni?
I would expect Dave to know. I'm only asking because I thought Dave would know. I thought Dave would have it locked and loaded.
I don't know. I think it's like a Swedish guy or something. I'll look it up.
Ask Link. Your son knows all the scores.
It is a Swedish guy. His name is Ludwig Göransson.
Oh yeah,
and he's a Swedish composer.
Yeah. I've heard of Ludwig.
You know. Yeah, he was from Mario Brothers. He was one of the
he scored other shit. Look at the other shit that he scored. I promise you, I can't off the top of my head. I can't remember the other things, but I know he scored some shit before. some noticeable
he scored
shit.
Creed and
Creed 2, Venom, and Black Panther.
Yeah, well, things that what are movies that Neri likes? I don't know what the fuck.
So I mean, you've got a series where it's Taika Waititi directed, David Filoni directed. I'm trying to remember.
Jon Favreau.
Favreau directed.
Oh wait, and my favorite director was it was actually none of those. She directed the third episode.
I was gonna say, wasn't it Catherine something directed?
Deborah Chow.
There we go, Deborah Chow.
Wow, that episode! Like the first 2 episodes were fantastic, but that third episode, I think, is when the bar was raised. I was like, holy fuck, this is like a totally different level.
And I mean, yes, Baby Yoda's adorable, but to me, that's not the thing of the show.
Yeah.
You know,
it could be an egg for all I care.
Exactly.
Like the show would still be good.
Exactly. And Debona, you had mentioned with Stranger Things about shows having this build up to something big. The Mandalorian did that as well.
Yeah, no, it absolutely did. And I won't spoil it for Neri, but oh my God, I popped so fucking hard at the end when he... Yeah,
with the thing?
With the thing?
And the bowler hat?
And the legs? And the legs? Did the legs happen? Oh, the legs, bro.
I lost my mind in that scene.
But you get that build up. There's always that thing, and through every episode, you get that little flashback of him that starts getting expounded on, and it starts growing, and you know you start learning these things about him. You said you saw the first episode, right, Neri?
Yeah.
Okay, like you find out why he doesn't like droids. You find out, you know, all these different things of little one lines and little off lines that he's thrown throughout the show that end up.
That wasn't wasn't in the first episode. The whole reason he doesn't like droids. I mean, it comes up that he doesn't like droids, but he doesn't.
No, but he mentions it.
Right.
He mentions it when he meets it. But you eventually find out why.
It's like episode 7 or 8, I think. You find out.
And I mean, and like, when was the last time that somebody so wonderfully portrayed so much emotion without seeing their face?
Yes.
Whenever the superhero stuff, they always make sure that it's open somewhere so you can still emote, and they just threw that out the window, and this guy still just absolutely knocked it out of the park.
And then Peter Weller, RoboCop 2.
Yeah, but he had a half a face.
He had half a face still, though. It wasn't completely covered.
And yet still didn't move it and showed so much emotion.
And then you have like the client, Werner Herzog.
It's Werner Herzog.
Yeah.
God damn.
One of like the most influential directors of all time,
who's never seen Star Wars. He had never watched Star Wars when they asked him for the role, and he said, why? I figured, why not? Let me do a Star Wars movie. Or a Star Wars show.
To them, why?
And then fucking Nick Nolte.
I love them, dude.
His character.
I have said so. I have spoken. Yeah, I've spoken. It's great. That's fucking great. I tried that with my wife. She did not like that.
IG-11.
Oh, man. IG-11 was so fantastic.
All the characters, even the side characters in the show, have development. Maybe not Carl Weathers. He kind of does, but doesn't really.
He does.
Yeah,
it comes around to be pretty good.
Another actor who fucking shows emotion without showing his face. We don't know what his face looks like anymore. Carl Weathers, if anything that Carl Weathers has done in the last 10 years, just know you can't, it doesn't move. It doesn't, because of all the fucking collagen, it doesn't fucking move. There's no, you can't.
And the last thing I'll just say about the show, the last thing I'll just say about it is I love all the cameos of people that they're not. You don't have to see their faces, and like in the prison ship episode, the guy from the IT crowd is the robot. Kurgan's the fucking other alien. You don't see their faces. It's under makeup or it's under a robot. The guys have a robot, but it's these celebrity voices that you hear, and you're like, wait, I know that person. Horatio Sands was in the first episode. He was a big fat blue alien.
That prison ship episode, since you circled round back to it, I could not get into the first half of that episode. I thought it's the only time that the show, to me, like the writing felt like flat and stock. To me, it seemed like, and Rick and Morty did a fantastic job of lampooning like every single heist.
They did. Son of a bitch. I'm in.
Son of a bitch. That, to me, that's exactly what.
That's a great episode. That's like, you son of a
so
bitch.
Good.
I'm in.
To me, that's exactly what the first half of that episode was.
Oh, then I'm in.
It would like it could have been anyone. Like they need this type of character, they need that type of character, and they're all like, "You son of a bitch, I'm in."
Right.
But once they get to the prison ship, oh my god, so fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, like this, like the light on and he's there, the light off.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And something that happens at the very end of that episode kind of goes to one of the things that I think you mentioned, Rogue One. To me, Rogue One and The Mandalorian do something that Star Wars hasn't done since Return of the Jedi, which is feel like Star Wars. The prequels, I've come to love. I legitimately love Episode 3, and Episode 7, Episode 9. Really like them, but they don't feel like Star Wars. They feel like something else. They feel like its own thing. Rogue One, Mandalorian feels like Star Wars.
Yeah.
The Mandalorian just has solidified the fact to me that I don't need to be in the Skywalker saga. I don't need to see the. It doesn't have to always be about Jedi and Sith.
Right.
There's a whole nother world out there.
A whole galaxy, even.
A whole galaxy.
Like really far away.
Yeah.
A whole new galaxy.
for longtime fans that have been reading books and comic books and playing video games in the Star Wars universe, I mean, that's been a known fact. You don't need to follow the Skywalkers. You know, in fact, some of the best stories that have been told are outside of that Skywalker family.
Or like just said, you don't even have to follow Jedi and Sith. Like, I'm waiting for a Star Wars game where I don't have to be a Jedi or a Sith. Like, where is just I want to be a bounty hunter.
Rogue Squadron, man. Rogue Squadron.
Yeah, I do need to play.
Listen,
Rogue.
I got to be honest with you. I'm on that camp. I don't need to follow the Skywalkers, but I do want to see Jedi and lightsabers. That's what I want to see in Star Wars movies. So,
well, good news is that they're releasing prequel novels that you can read about the original Jedi.
No.
All right, Bono, what do we got for number one, brother?
All right, so my number one, in the vein of my number two and my number four, I would not be surprised if none of you have seen this. Not only is this my favorite streaming show, but even through 3 pretty short seasons, this honestly may be my favorite television show of all time. It was originally released in 2017. It is a Netflix show called Atypical.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, I heard of it. Haven't seen it.
Atypical is it's the story of Sam Gardner and his family. Sam Gardner has ASD. He has autism spectrum disorder. And and so there's 3 seasons, and each season it takes place over the course of really only about 4 months. Like, the first season is his first semester of his high school year. Second season, second semester. Third season, first semester of his freshman year of college. But it's about him, his sister, who's a track star at the same high school, and his parents, and then the people they interact with. Michael Rappaport is in it, if that sells anybody. He is not playing he's playing the anti-Michael Rappaport. This is
really?
Oh, yeah. He is in no way actually playing a Michael Rappaport character. So
he's playing somebody likable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
No, he absolutely is.
Right.
No, he's playing this very doting, like working man father figure.
Yeah.
And it just tells this incredible family story, while finding moments to be absolutely ridiculously funny. I've said on here before, I'm not much of a crier. Things get to me on occasion. This show gets to me on a very regular basis. Having a special ed degree and being told by professionals while never being actually diagnosed with the fact that I am probably on the spectrum. A lot of the ways that Sam, the main character, views the world really hit home with me because there are certain things that'll happen and certain things that he'll do. And I'll be like, oh, okay, weird, right? Like, I just thought that was a normal way to look at things. And it's very touching to me. But he works at this store that's like a Best Buy clone, essentially called Techtropolis. And he's got a best friend that works there that is just one of the funniest characters I've ever seen on TV. He's just like this, sex crazed Indian guy, but just absolutely ridiculously funny. Like I said, very heartfelt. Like, you learn to love all of these characters except for the one that they really want you to hate, and they drive home that you're supposed to hate them and you hate them. It's beautifully written. It's very short. They are coming back for the fourth season, which is probably going to be their fourth season, but much in the way that David was saying, Stranger Things is probably, the best TV show in 10 years. Honest to God, this may be my favorite show ever. It definitely falls more into the family drama / comedy. It is a drama more than it is funny, but the actors who portray all these roles, you buy in 100%. I cannot recommend this show enough. It does not take long to get through, and it is just wonderful storytelling with characters that you will love. I can promise.
I just added it to my queue.
It's so like, we started watching it just on a whim one time. Like, I just started watching it. My wife was doing something else because she's not big into getting into new things. And after 2 episodes, she was like, "Hey, I'm falling asleep. You have to turn that off. Like, I don't want to. We have to watch that together now." And it tells this incredible story. Like I said, his senior year of high school, his freshman year of college, and watching him try to cope with things, watching him try to just have friends and have typical relationships with girls and with his family and with friends. And like I said, I actually went and looked up whether or not Keir Gilchrist, the actor who plays the main character, had ASD, because he did his he does not, by the way. He did his homework, and his portrayal feels very true. It never feels comedic or hyperbolic for the sake of selling anything. And like I said, I've got a special ed degree. I've dealt with these things for going on 13 years now, and it all feels very, very real. All of the show feels very real, and there's going to be something in here that's going to hit home with just about everybody.
I added it to my queue. I'm going to check that out.
Yeah, just added it.
Yeah, I've heard of the show before because I follow Michael Rappaport on Twitter, and he is a class internet troll. Like, he is. If you want to,
he's the best.
Yeah,
he's the
really
best
good.
internet troll.
He's really good at insane shit to get a reaction out of people. It is.
Oh yeah.
He can
also
teach. That's what I think his masterclass is going to be. I half expect those masterclass commercials. Like, I half expect Michael Rappaport to be like, I could teach you how to, but I'm Michael Rappaport, and this is how you troll. Like, this is like, I just feel like that would be a thing for him. But
he
I know
also does an amazing job of roasting trolls, by the way.
Yeah.
Like when somebody, like, oh my God, he's done videos where he's like put up comments that people have said, and then shown pictures of like the dude's wife and be like, does your wife know you talk? And then just, oh dude. Yeah. I love Michael Rappaport. Like I said, this is a very anti-Michael Rappaport role, and he still kills it.
So I've seen, I know of the show because of that, but yeah.
On Snoop Dogg and Martha Stewart's show, they were like, "Who's the worst basketball player?" He was like, "Jamie Foxx, straight garbage." Like, he just started like fucking Navy. He's like, Leonardo DiCaprio thinks he can ball, sucks. Like, he just started, and like Snoop Dogg's like, "Oh shit!" Like,
I saw him on Bert Kreischer's cooking show one time, and he was talking about how, like, coming up, he hung out with all the basketball kids, but he wasn't that good. So like, that's where he got good. Was shit talking. Like, that was how he became somebody not to be messed with.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway, atypical.
Atypical. Right on, man. My number one was briefly mentioned before in the honorable mentions. And my number one is a show that I was late to. I didn't watch until season 2 had already come and gone. I actually watched it over, I watched season 1 and 2 back to back over the Thanksgiving Day week. That week, I remember I was on a cruise ship and I watched all of them. I bought the series 1 and 2. I bought them on iTunes because it originally came out on a streaming service that I do not own, so I didn't have access to watching it. And it is a show that I saw the first 2 episodes of season 1 because they let everybody see it for free, and I almost jumped on another streaming service just to be able to watch the rest of season 1. Ultimately did not do that. Season 1 came and went, season 2 came and went, and then they released it on iTunes, and that's where I bought it. So I don't know if that was a smart move. I think it could have been cheaper if I just would have fucking bought the streaming service for a month and just fucking done that. But I bought season 1 and 2. My number one is the one and only Cobra Kai. I have become such a fan of this show that when I was done watching first of all, the season finale of season 2 is one of the greatest episodes of TV that I've ever fucking seen. From start to fucking finish, it literally left you like, what the fuck? Like, it just kept fucking hitting you. What happened?
It's the bowler hat.
Yeah.
Oh, with the legs.
It was legs and fucking arms, and it was all these shit.
He swept the legs.
Yeah. And dude, it was so fucking good. And this is one of the. This is not an exaggeration. Finished watching season 2. Went online to Twitter to try to find out more information because it was one of those things where I was like, I need to talk about this to somebody. I need to talk to somebody about this now. Like, there's a lot of shit that I have, like, I just can't. What the fuck did I just watch? And then I found a podcast called the Cobra Kai podcast, the Cobra Kai companion. I found the one of the 3 guys one of the 3 showrunners is actively on Twitter and is always talking about Cobra Kai. Also, he's one of the writers and directors of other movies such as the fucking White Castle movies, Harold and Kumar movies.
Harold and Kumar?
Yeah, Harold and Kumar, and Hot Tub Time Machine, and he's actively on Twitter, and I'm like, fucking, hey. So I'm like, I found this whole other section of Twitter that was like, hey, we're huge Cobra Kai fans, not ironically, not fucking around, and I'm like, this is my group of people, and I fucking love this show. Again, another show that people say, oh, season 2 is not as good as season 1, and I fucking call bullocks on that shit, man. Because season 2 to me is fucking up there, man.
Just real quick, okay, I know that a show called Cobra Kai exists. I know Cobra Kai is a Karate Kid reference. What is the show even about?
All right, so season 1 is they take you after the kick, after the original movie, after that kick, and Johnny goes down on the mat. Then they show you basically how in the last 20 plus years, whatever it's been, how their lives, that was the universe breaking point for them. How one of their lives has gone fucking straight up. Daniel LaRusso now owns a bunch of luxury car dealerships. He's beloved in town. He's like a great member of society. He's like on the chairman of this and that, and he's on the board of this and that. And his fucking career and his life, he's got a beautiful wife, a beautiful home, 2 kids who are great. His son is fat, which I think is fucking awesome.
Representation.
Yeah, no, not only that, but it's like, how many times do you know a fucking great athlete and then they came up and they have fucking fat children, right? Magic Johnson. So then and then the other coin is like the same. Their lives are very much the one coin, and then the opposite side of that coin is Johnny Lawrence and how his life has gone completely shit. It's one of those guys that peaked in high school. He was the cool guy in high school, but after that, after he lost that tournament, it just all went downhill after that. He's fucking he's broke, he's divorced, he doesn't see his kid at all, and it just turns into this whole thing where his dad, which was played by, I forget his name, but it's a big fat dude that's fucking that he's in a million movies, and Eisner. Ed Eisner plays his dad, and he gives him a bunch of money. His dad gives him a bunch of money. It's actually his stepdad. His stepdad gives him a bunch of money and throws it at him as a fucking like shameful, like, oh, whatever. And Johnny's like, go fuck yourself. I don't want your money. I never wanted your money. You were always a piece of shit as a father. And then he decides that check that he ripped up, he fucking decides to tape it back up because he sees the space in the shopping mall is for rent or whatever the fuck, for lease. So then he opens up Cobra Kai again, and that sparks some shit in Daniel LaRusso where he was like, what? Like, he just sees that name as fucking evil. And so they start, like, one guy's trying to get his life back together, but Daniel's stopping him from getting, because he's the fucking true villain. And it becomes this whole fucking thing of like...
So Daniel is the antagonist in this show?
In season one...
He continues his role as the bad guy from the first Karate Kid.
Correct.
And he continues his role as the bad guy in this.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I thought we were watching a movie about the Karate Kid.
You mean the pushy Italian kid that came into town to put everything up because he didn't want to respect a relationship? I'm sorry.
So
okay, no, like I said, I knew it existed. I don't know what service it's on or anything.
It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube Extreme or YouTube whatever the fuck.
YouTube Red.
Yeah. But it's so fucking good, man. And season one, again, a lot of people online have said, oh, season 2 is good, but it's not as good as season 1. And I completely and wholeheartedly disagree with that statement. I think season 2 is just, and again, what we were talking about before, there's a big picture, and it all fucking grows into this whole thing. In season 2, it's a fucking crazy episode, the last episode of season 2, and I fucking love them, man. And then every time these guys, because they're very similar in personality, they're very similar. It's a circumstance thing. A lot of times, one walks in at the last 5 seconds of a situation, thinks it's something else, but it's fucking not, and it's a whole thing, man. I just fucking love this show. I follow these guys. They have said that anything in the Karate Kid movies is in the universe, so any character can come back except for Mr. Miyagi, because Pat has passed away, and Mr. Miyagi in the series has passed away. So he's really.
But Hilary Swank.
That's what we're saying.
They have literally said anything. They have said any character. The Japanese dude from part 2. I don't know his name. I don't know the character's name. From part 2, the villain from part 2. Anybody in the Karate Kid universe can come back. It's all fucking it's all in canon, and it's so fucking good. His buddies from Get a Body Bag. He was in season 1 or 2. I forget what season, because again I watched them all in the same week.
Yeah, I think it was in the first season.
Yeah,
they have a few of the people come in the first season, like just like, oh hey, look, it's so and so.
Yeah. And they do a quick flashback to show you who, because everybody's aged 30 fucking years, right. So they show you who the fuck they were. And I mean, it's really, I fucking love this show. I love this show unironically. I don't like this again. Nostalgia. I love this show too, bro. Nostalgia is nostalgia is a thing. Like Stranger Things, nostalgia plays, but this is not just. It's everything that made the Karate Kid franchise, and I'm not talking about the Hilary Swank one, but everything that made the Karate Kid franchise great is what makes this show great. It's not great because I remember it as a kid. It's great because it's fucking great, and I just happen to also remember it as a kid. Okay. And I fucking love this show, man. It was the first one that fit my criteria. The moment I took out the one seasoners, I eliminated those, and the shows that I haven't finished, it was the first show that I thought of. Arguably, and I'm not debating this, Jack Ryan is a better show, but because it was the very first show that I thought of after weeding out my criteria, I was like, it's first in my brain for a reason, so it must be something to that. So I just went with it for my number 1. But I fucking love that show. All right, so our number ones, were Stranger Things, Mandalorian, Atypical, and Cobra Kai. Right now we have 2 repeaters for the final mountain. We have Stranger Things and Mandalorian. So we are left with I don't know.
I'm okay with your 2 number 1s, to be completely honest, because the way DeBona talked about Atypical, to me, that has a special place, kind of for him in there.
And both my number one and Jeff's number one are on the mountain.
Oh, yeah. That's a good way to. So we could go with that because we're already at 216.
Hey. Oh yeah, I'm great with that. Like I said, if people find out about Atypical, I'm happy.
Yeah, man. All right, so Stranger Things, Mandalorian, Cobra Kai, and Atypical is your final mountain. We are in quarantine as of the time of this recording, which is weird because Easter passed, and somebody in the fucking politics was talking about Easter. I don't know, it's almost like they didn't know what he was talking about. So if this comes out probably in 2 weeks, because we have a couple already in the bank. So if we're still in quarantine by then, which we think we should, or we think we probably will, make sure to check out any of these shows, man. We recommend them. If we miss anything, let us know. Email us, contact us on all the social medias. We are at Mt.Geekmore. Thank you for checking us out. We are part of the Geek Bro Network, which go to geekbro.net. Check out all the other podcasts, including Daniel DeBona's What You Got, which is a YouTube series that can also be found at geekbro.net. And we also have other podcasts like Better Let Me Tell You, The Layer, Childlike at Best with Mike Valdez, and the one that started them all, What's Up Bro, called Woo Bro. Well, we affectionately call it as Woo Bro. So thank you guys.
Just real quick, if I could, on the day we're recording this, I know by the time you listen to it, it'll be 2 weeks old, but I just have to say, I'm usually not affected by celebrity death, but today, The Fink from WWE died. Howard Finkel passed away today, and he was my childhood, like with watching wrestling and listening to him ring announced, and that one hurt. So RIP. The one thing that I can take away from it is the guy was always kind of had a pervy sense of humor, so I like to think that wherever he is right now, he's at least laughing at the fact that he died at 69.
That's fantastic. That's a good one, man. Yeah, man, he's gonna be missed. We all watch wrestling as kids, and you're absolutely right. That is our childhood. Rest in peace for that, man. Thank you for checking us out, and that's how lists are made.